1.5, 1 3/4, 1 5. There we go.
You're tuning in to the Vulcan Soapbox.
It's your show, Vulcan. Come on, man.
I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show, all my folks out there, people that enjoy being critical and breaking things down and getting a firmer understanding, even if it means you got to be the awkward person in the room. That's really uncomfortable, people out there, but that's what we do. So we got a good panel today. Let everybody introduce themselves, starting out with Wicked. Go ahead, my man.
So, man, I go by Wicked. Just, here to have a nice in-depth conversation, a little back and forth, and, try to get down to the meat and bones of situations.
Yes, sir. We got the Indian Jesus on, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Tell us how to find you. Anything you got?
How's it going, guys? I am the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. I'm live here on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. And you know that YouTube sucks with those notifications, so you should definitely hit that bell so you never miss an Indian Jesus live party. I'm also on socials at Indian Jesus off like official. Indian Jesus off. Thank you for having me.
Sir, T Reason.
What's up? It's T Reason, the one and only Reason. It's good to be here to see everybody. Hopefully we get into some good topics, have us some good gentleman debates, and everybody stay on topic, you know what I'm saying? Because we have good old Dane here. I know sometimes he can get a little sidebar, a little sidetrack. We're going to keep the show rolling today.
Okay, the Dane. What's up, my man?
My Vulcan. It's a shame that T Reason don't have any other cause in life but Big Daddy. But I'm Dane on the Big Daddy pod. I'm the Big Daddy because I'm big. And I'm a daddy 5 times. And I ain't even Catholic. I'm just a Baptist that can't count to 28 on a regular basis. But I'm here, glad to be here. Getting started a little bit late, but that's okay. I'm used to that. I do appreciate Lutch coming here from the Indian Jesus podcast. He's really an entertaining guy. He'll bring a lot to it. He'll be somebody that usually be able to help me beat up on T-Reason. So I'm happy to be here and ready to go.
Hey, many have tried, many have failed. Come on now.
Ain't nobody listening to you, man. We try to get the show started here.
All right, so that rounds out the panel for the day. So yeah, I'm the Vulcan. Excited to do another show. So we got T Reason has a video for us. So we got it pretty much ready to go. I guess I'm assuming we do. So T Reason, anything you want to say before we get into the video?
I sent him the question. This is something that I've been thinking about for a little minute. I've kind of noticed the incongruency. So I want us to go ahead and watch the video and then give our opinions on it, give our stances.
All right, sounds good. All right, we'll dive right into it.
Stop telling black folk that All right, so the same people who never stopped telling black folk that Republicans freed the slaves somehow have a problem with the holiday celebrating enslaved people becoming free. And that contradiction tells you exactly what this talking point is actually about. Because whenever somebody criticizes the modern Republican Party's relationship with black people, they immediately run to Abraham Lincoln. Now, Democrats had slaves and Republicans freed the slaves from the Democrats. Okay, that's cool. Then why does Juneteenth bother you? Why is the holiday celebrating the emancipation that apparently Republicans were responsible for suddenly divisive, woke, and unnecessary? If ending slavery is one of the Republican Party's greatest accomplishments, Juneteenth should be one of y'all favorite holidays. But the truth is, these folks ain't talking about freeing slaves because they cared about black freedom. They only bringing it up because they want partisan credit. They want leverage over Democrats who accuse them of racism. They love the story when Republicans are the heroes and black people are just people who got rescued. But Juneteenth is a problem for them because this holiday shifts the focus of that story. It centers the enslaved people who were waiting on freedom. It reminds us that freedom was delayed, it was resisted, and it had to be enforced even after emancipation was proclaimed. Because Juneteenth is not just a celebration that slavery ended. It is a reminder that white people fought to preserve slavery, ignored emancipation, and continued exploiting black people until federal powers forced them to give that up. So when somebody brags that Republicans freed the slaves, but complains about Juneteenth, understand what they telling you. They are more interested in the political credit for emancipation than the actual meaning of black freedom. Because you cannot claim ending slavery as one of your party's greatest achievements while resenting the people who were enslaved for celebrating it. At that point, you are not honoring emancipation. You are using it as leverage for partisan bickering and partisan arguments, and we're not having it. All right, so this.
You want me to read the question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Is the Republican Party disdain for Juneteenth a contradiction? That's the question for the video.
Is the Republican Party's disdain for Juneteenth a contradiction?
I don't see how it would be a contradiction. I mean, I personally don't care. Like, you want to celebrate? Go ahead and celebrate. That's not something that's in my culture and something that I care about. But I have no problem with it. And as someone in my chat said, the best thing that Biden did, give us another federal holiday. Day off of work.
Unless you don't work for the federal government.
I was going to say, I'm a dog trainer. I don't work for the federal for corporations anyway.
For who? I was going to say, who gets the day off? My job revolves around holidays.
Well, some people.
So Wicked,
but the rest of us, though, Wicked, are not call girls.
It's not a contradiction.
No, I think that not liking a thing, a contradiction has to have two parts. So saying I don't like that, what is it contradicting?
Okay, they're saying, so they're taking credit for freeing the slaves and at the same time doing everything they can not to honor Juneteenth.
That's begging the question, though.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is that's the question is there disdain? Is it
No. When I say begging the question, when I say begging the question, T reason, I mean you're assuming that a question has been proven to be correct when you haven't proven it's been correct. The question that's being begged is, does the Republican Party disdain Juneteenth? The guy in the video assumes that they do, and then he argues from that perspective, but he hasn't presented any argument to show that it is true.
Yeah,
that's begging the question.
I know people who are like, oh, I don't, same as me. Like, I don't really see it, whatever. But I don't know anybody who's like actively angry about Juneteenth. I'm not saying that there aren't those people, but I don't know how representative of the average conservative, Republican, whatever you want to say. I certainly could.
So one example I can give you, one example I can give you is Charlie Kirk. He said it shouldn't be a federal holiday. And he fought against it several times.
So what's the contradiction?
Where's the
contradiction? Wait, before we even get there, wait. What was his reasoning? He said he didn't want it to become a federal holiday because of what reason?
He said we already have an Independence Day. We don't need another one.
I agree with that.
We already have.
That's a good point.
Are you not? I mean, this is that's kind of where I come from. Like, I am my culture is America, and America. Being birthed is the celebration that now, past slavery, we have to celebrate all that makes America great, and ending slavery is one of those things.
So why not
again,
celebrate?
If you want to if you want to celebrate on an extra day,
you're contradicting yourself right now. So you might be the walking contradiction we're talking about.
Okay,
because you literally just contradicted yourself.
How so?
Because you said we should celebrate America, right? And this is a part of celebrating America.
Okay,
right?
So go celebrate America.
But there's
what's the contradiction?
The contradiction is there's people in the Republican Party that are fighting to remove it as a federal holiday. They don't want it to be.
But that's not me.
But what does that have to do?
I'm not saying
that a contradiction?
See.
So let's say it was. Let's say I'll take the devil's advocate. Juneteenth is the dumbest holiday ever.
Yes.
What's the contradiction?
You have to be first. You have to follow the flow of the video. Okay. So the flow of the video is first, Republicans are saying the Democrats are the ones who were first proponents.
So this
is
not a relevant video because you're talking about
but T reason. Hold on a second.
It is very relevant because you guys are omiting information.
We're just not those people. You have Democrats who want to take pew-pews and do all that nasty stuff. We could say, well, you're on that
information.
But that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Look, T.
You're
T-Reez, let me
bringing in
understand.
something that's not relevant to the conversation.
Hold on, look, T. Let me see if I can understand what you're saying real quick. You're saying it's a contradiction because they, at one hand, say, "Oh, we ended slavery. We don't
We
want
freed the
slavery
slaves.
anymore. We freed them. We
Yeah.
freed them. Right? They're not slaves
Yes.
anymore." And now the contradiction is that they don't want to celebrate the holiday. Wouldn't the contradiction have to be that we want to put them back into slavery?
No.
I mean, that would
'Cause
also be a contradiction.
That's
With
like
that.
saying you got to go all in to be proven to be something. You can you're it's like you're saying you can't be partially something. You have to be all the way something. You see what I'm saying? So in order for it to make to be a part of the argument, they have to go to the extreme. They can't go to the middle ground, or they can't be in opposition.
Who is they?
So any
Yeah.
The
Who's someone
Republican
who's
Who's
Party.
there?
they?
the Republican
Who's they?
Party, the
All
Republican
of them?
Party, the
All of them?
Republican Party. No, not
All of
all
them,
of
no.
them, because
Okay, so then-
obviously there's
Okay,
always going to be an
so
exception
if
to
it's
the
not-
rule.
With nobody
majority,
here.
Okay,
majority,
so
majority,
51% of them.
majority, yes, majority.
So
You have a
okay. Can
source
you
on
prove
that?
that to me?
I mean, there's plenty of sources.
Okay, bring it up.
I would
Yeah.
like some proof of that because
I will definitely have a
because
bigger
what I'm
problem
saying-
with the Republican Party.
I
if
would agree
51%
that
of
yeah,
people-
there's always going to be some people in a party that disagree with what the basis of the party is, but that doesn't mean that the party as a whole represents that. I mean, I could turn that back around and say, okay, well, that means every Democrat in the world, or they all believe that you should train your children.
Yeah,
That's
exactly
what some
the point
people
I was making.
say. That's what some people
Okay,
say.
but they're wrong,
They-
right?
But
Or
does
those
that make
people
it
are
true?
wrong.
No,
But does that make it
hold on.
true?
No.
Hold on, because
here's-
somebody says it doesn't mean it's true.
You're right, but here's the problem, though.
Okay,
they bear the burden of being the party that's more of a proponent for that. So they bear the burden of
How?
saying, okay,
How?
well,
Show
we
me
can
how.
put this in our-
How? Show me one example
I'm
where
gonna show you
Republicans
how.
are
I'm gonna
trying to put Black people back into slavery while saying that we freed slaves and we don't want them to be slaves, but at the same time putting them back into slavery. That would make it the contradiction. Just because you don't like a holiday
almost like
and
you don't
saying you
have
free them,
ears.
that's not. I have
Ricky,
ears.
It's almost like your ears don't work, because that was not what was said. We never said.
Well,
the
you
Republican
said
Party
you
is trying-
you
No,
said
that's
that
not
the
what was
Republican
said.
Party
You just
said that
you
we
just
freed
said-
slaves. And
you just went
because
off
that
on
they don't want to
tangent
celebrate a
about something
holiday.
that never got said. You literally just put words in my mouth.
Okay, so did you not say that the Republican Party said that they freed the slaves, right?
Okay.
Then the contradiction is that they don't like the holiday of
No.
freeing the slaves.
Yes, that is the contradiction. But you took
Because
it to
you
an
don't-
extreme. You took
How
it
did
to
I take it
extreme
to
by
a-
saying, let me finish, because you keep
Okay.
interrupting. I can't even say what I'm about to say because you keep spazzing out. You said that they want Black people to go back into slavery. You said that the Republican Party wants Black people to go back into slavery. You were saying that
That
that's
would
not
be
true,
that would
but that's what you're
that would
saying
be the
that they wanna
contradiction.
do.
if
But
that's what they wanted to do.
no,
If that is what they wanted to,
them
not
them
that is what they
wanting
want to do.
Them not wanting to celebrate the holiday is also a contradiction, in the fact that you can't see that can be something that can be considered also a contradiction is the root of the problem.
Just
So
because you
would
don't
you-
want to celebrate a holiday doesn't make you contradiction. That's
What
what,
about all
you're
the
not
people who are saying
understanding.
that
It
they're
is
not gonna
very,
celebrate July
very
4th?
contradictory.
So hold on,
It's
whoa,
very
whoa.
contradictory.
T-Reason.
They don't
How
have
is
a
it very
problem with any-
contradictory? What do they
Because
have to
they're
do?
not-
What does what does freeing a slave and not wanting to celebrate a holiday have to do with?
Because when you start to see a pattern of them only having problems with Black holidays and you don't see them having problems with any other holidays on the calendar, then it's pretty obvious why they have an issue with that.
What other Black holidays do they have a problem with now? What other Black holidays do a
History
majority?
Month. Black History Month. You see what I'm saying?
I've shown what Republicans have a problem. What Republicans have a problem with Black History Month.
Look at how they trashed Obama's ceremony that he had for opening up his community center. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you
trashed? Who trashed? What do you mean by trashed? What did they do to trash it? What did they do to trash it?
They called it a trash can. They said it was distasteful. They said it was a waste of money, resources.
But how is that a contradiction? Somebody disagreeing. Well, would you say that if you took the amount of money that it took to do that compared to the amount of money that somebody else was able to do with the exact amount of money, and the size difference between the two of how much more they were to accomplish, would say that's a waste of money on the other person?
Okay,
if somebody is able to do more,
then you got to apply that to the things that those same people are doing. You got to look at the celebration that was.
That's not a contradiction.
Trash. Yes, it is, because you got to look.
What trash?
You got to look at how there's.
What you mean the trash when there were transvestites flipping out their
Can we get a definition of what you think contradiction means?
Yeah. So we got one comment.
Contradiction is when you're not in alignment in support of your original stance. So you take a stance on something and then you're opposing to that in some way, shape, or form, however big or however small that may be. It is a contradiction to your very original purpose.
Okay.
So if they're trying to say that their purpose is to free the slaves and to also, like the Indians Jesus is saying, is to celebrate America. This is a part of America.
Okay. T-Reason, do you drink alcohol by any chance?
Get somebody else a shot.
Hang on, Wicked.
To change his mind real quick. Okay, the Indian Jesus, you want to give it? Go ahead. It's on you.
Yeah. So, question for T-Reason: do you think it's okay if we'll say specifically Black people don't want to celebrate July 4th?
Absolutely.
Why wasn't that contradictory?
No, they didn't have anything to do with the founding of this country.
But you're saying that you're supposed so it only matters that the Republicans have to do what you want, but you don't have to do what the Republicans want.
That's
not a contradiction.
You sound like a little girl. You sound like a girl. I see.
Nope, I sound like a grown ass man.
You think you do. I'm about to tell you why you don't. Because the Republican Party took part in freeing the slaves. It's something that they take credit for every single time. These people that you just talked about that don't want to celebrate July 4th had nothing to do with the founding of this country. So they have a right to not celebrate something that they didn't take part in.
Hold on. Nobody alive today had anything to do with founding the country. Okay, you are fighting. You are literally fighting ghosts. You are literally fighting ghosts. Either the people that are not alive who think that way, or people who are not on this panel. Do you understand? Do you understand what the rest of us? If you shut up for a second, you'll understand, because you're not understanding a lot at all. What I'm telling you is that the prompt was that whether it or not, it is a contradiction. We have shown beyond the shadow of a doubt that it's not a contradiction. You may think that those are two things. You may think that those are two things that must go together. And other people may disagree. That is not a contradiction. I think that if you're a dog owner, that you should think that dogs belong on furniture. But it's not a contradiction if you own a dog and say no dogs on the couch. Is that a contradiction? Because I think those two ideas should go together. So if you don't have both ideas, then you're contradicting yourself, right?
It sounds like Indian Jesus is talking about.
Okay, what is it a contradiction?
You way off topic.
Is it a contradiction? That's a yes or no question. Is it a contradiction?
It's not. No,
okay,
it's
not. So then how is that any different than what we're talking about with Juneteenth?
Because it's not relevant. Because the Republican Party...
It's an analogy.
The Republican Party actually took place in these things.
No contradiction. No contradiction.
No, it's not.
So tell me the difference between the dog and the Juneteenth.
I'm trying to, but you keep talking. You got to shut up.
You got to let me finish so that you know what you're
responding. Want some of this?
You should be finished already. The fact that you're still going, you just.
I know that you might have that TikTok Subway Surfer brain. Do I need to put Subway Surfer over my head? I was talking for 30 seconds, and he's like, "Wow, my God!"
Big Daddy, I know you want some of this.
That's longer than that.
Oh man.
Go ahead.
But you cannot equate that to the same thing because the Republican Party actually played a part in freeing the slaves.
So what does that have to do with me? I used to be a never Trumper.
You're not.
I voted
you have
for Hillary
Clinton.
Clinton.
Then
why are we talking about it?
Because we're talking about the Republican Party.
Okay, fine. So some Republicans don't like Juneteenth, and that's bad.
That is like mind blowing to me.
What is the point? Yes,
the question was about the Republican Party. You're taking it personal.
I will concede that it makes sense for you to be mad that other people are mad at Juneteenth. It is not a contradiction, but it is okay for you to be mad about that, which is also not a contradiction.
When you can get out of your own head and actually listen with comprehension, you can be enlightened and you can understand exactly what I was just trying to explain.
I can't wait to review this one. This is going to be fun.
Well, you got to go back and look because everything you brought up has nothing to do with the original point.
Oh, we will.
T-Reason.
All right, so yeah, Dane, go ahead.
T-Reason. Can you give me an objective argument for why the Republican Party's abolition of slavery, which is a historical fact, T-Reason, that's not something that's claimed the Republican Party was responsible for the abolition of slavery. Can you give me an objective argument to explain why it is that their abolition of slavery would compel them to have to celebrate and observe whatever damn hell holiday it is that people come up with years down the road and say, well, now you have to do this or else you're a bad person? Wouldn't that be, in a sense, enlisting the Republican Party in a sort of slavery to your preferences?
Absolutely. That would be like the Knicks winning the championship.
He don't even understand that he just killed his own argument.
That would be like the Knicks winning the championship and the Knicks players not celebrating the championship that they
How dare they?
I have no idea.
But
what a contradiction.
It's actually, you're talking over me. Just shut up for a second. It's the same thing. It's like,
but it's so much fun.
Worse.
More rope to hang yourself.
Can I get their mics muted for like 2 seconds so I can get this out? Because it's like the same. It's actually worse for the Republican Party because they actually lost lives fighting for this freedom. And now all of a sudden the celebration is being had and they want no parts of it. Imagine your favorite football team winning a championship and the players that were on the field not on the field wanting to celebrate. How often do you see that happen? Can you name one time? Okay, tell me a time. Tell me a time.
Wait.
No, you just said very often. Tell me a time.
Whatever what was the day the Knicks won? I don't know. I don't know like that day. Are you telling me? Are you telling me? Are you telling me? Are you telling me?
You have no idea what you're talking about.
You go ahead. You go spurg out, and when you're done, I'll ask you a question, and we can talk like adults.
Now I want Dave to bring the violin back since he think he know how to play it so well.
I'm tired of hearing you cry because you can't control the behavior of other people and compel them to celebrate a holiday that was invented just like Kwanzaa was invented.
I don't know.
You know, a lot of black people celebrate Kwanzaa as the Black Christmas, but it's not. It's a retail Walmart level holiday. And Juneteenth, it was a regional holiday to Texas until just a few years ago. Like, I know a lot of black people who don't celebrate Juneteenth because they think it's kind of silly. Like Valentine's Day was invented by Hallmark. But people, man, a lot of people, they're committed to Valentine's Day. So I think it's funny that you're on here acting like it's a big deal because some groups of people think Juneteenth is not worth celebrating.
Some groups of people. It's not some groups of people. It's a very specific group of people.
Hold on.
We gotta go back to no. Hold on a second, guys.
I want
the biggest problem
to say that every single Knicks fan went out and celebrated on the streets.
I didn't say the Knicks fan. See, that's your equivalent.
Hold on a second.
You fans don't know what an equivalent is. Do you know what an equivalent is? It's almost like you have no idea what an equivalent is. You equated it to the fans.
Contradiction.
You and I are the
problem. You know what the biggest problem is?
You look, on the field making it happen.
Look, shut your gap for a second. Look, close your mouth for a second. Listen, the biggest problem is this is your claim. So you have to literally prove this claim that you're saying that a 51% majority of Republicans. That is your claim. This is your video, your question.
We could ask you explicitly 51%, and you said yes.
I asked you, literally, I asked you, was it 51? Dude, I asked you, was it 51%? Did I ask you, was it 51% of the Republicans? And you said yes. And I asked you, I said, was it 51% a majority? You said yes. So now it is your claim that it's 51% or more. Show me.
Okay, so that I don't have information on.
But so then your argument is irrelevant and it means absolutely nothing.
No, you can't make it irrelevant just because it doesn't mean
you made it irrelevant when it came out your mouth.
If you can't back up your claim,
a requirement out of thin air and was like, and then
no.
I'm going to try to take merit away from your entire argument. That's baloney.
I'm not taking merit away from your argument. All I'm saying is that if you can't come up with any proof. No, you're the one making the claim, so you have to have proof.
I have
right?
Proof. I have given.
No, you gave me feelings. You gave me feelings and assumptions. You didn't give me proof.
I've told
you gave me feelings and assumptions. It was feelings and show me. Okay, so repeat the proof that is not a feeling or an assumption that I can actually find physically and show me.
Put a pause and then we're going
to Kirk saying that it should not be a federal holiday.
Hold on. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we're gonna read the comments real quick. Uncle Tiger says, "I don't think T Reason knows what contradiction means." Leia says, "Shadow boxing 100." On site says, "LOL, what treason saying we should celebrate it?" Uncle Tiger, T Reason, duh, we Publican party is racist, yo.
That part. They think it's funny.
It says, "Can we ask T?"
That was funny. That was funny.
So I'm going to create.
The way he typed it,
White Day of celebration. This was for you, T Reason. She said, "Can we ask T Reason this?" So I'm going to.
We already got plenty of those. We got plenty of those already.
That way we can celebrate bring the liberators of slaves.
What do you mean we have plenty? Please show me that.
You want to respond to that real quick, T Reason?
Thanksgiving. We got what else? The 4th of July. I mean, what more holidays do you need?
Well,
the 4th of July is an American holiday, not a white specifically holiday.
Yeah, it's my understanding that 4th of July is
I'm not white.
For everybody.
I celebrate all of those. How are those white holidays?
But why do you have a problem with celebrating Juneteenth, though?
I don't, as I stated in the beginning.
Okay, well that's fine. Well then, that's fine. Then you don't fit the part. You don't fit
exactly.
The problem.
Nobody here does, bro. That's what we're trying to tell you. I said in the very beginning.
That's not what you're trying to tell me.
Again, talking over me. This is why you understand. We got 2 years and 1 mouth. I can keep going too. I can just
Republican Party.
Yeah. All right. So real quickly, what we'll do, y'all. Enos had to go ahead and start it over again. So what we're gonna do is let's do closing comments on this and let somebody feel like they can. So we'll start off with Wicked. A minute or less. What's your closing comment on this topic? We go to the next one.
All right, it's very simple. Just because it is a fact that yes, a Republican Party freed the slaves, you still haven't proven that a majority. All you said was it was a majority. You have not proven it. And everything you said is just based off feelings. So the fact that it would be a contradiction is they would have to want to be like, yes, we freed the slaves at the same time trying to put them into slavery. That would be a contradiction. What you said is nowhere near a contradiction. Look up the definition and then let's get back to it.
All right, ended early with still 30 seconds left on the clock. Indian Jesus, what you got, my man?
Yeah, I mean, Wicked pretty much said it that this is a non-starter. That's not what I understand that T Reason is saying that. Well, if you're happy about freeing the slaves, then you should be happy about the holiday celebrating that. But that's simply not what a contradiction means. I wish we could have had a conversation about the idea of, well, shouldn't people who are repping the Republican Party, specifically talking about getting rid of slavery, shouldn't those people be on board with Juneteenth? I think that would have been a much better conversation. But the words matter, and you prompt cucked yourself. It's not a contradiction, and so you beg the question.
Prompt cocked it. I'm stealing that. It belongs to me now, Lutch.
I took it from Confluence, so
okay. Well, I'm stealing it.
Dang, at least y'all give us some credit, and y'all ain't colonizing out here.
Yeah.
T Reason is chock full of all of those buzzwords. He got all those buzzwords and he thinks makes an argument. Here's my issue. He keeps asking, why don't you want to celebrate Juneteenth, this, that, and the third? I'm not going to celebrate Juneteenth because I don't think it's a worthy holiday for me to celebrate. That's why. About 600,000 Americans died in part to abolish slavery. I can recognize that 100%. Without letting someone like T Reason and those who have the feminine thinking skills he does manipulate me with social shame and scorn and peer pressure into putting on a dashiki and walking around with my fist up saying, Happy Juneteenth. I don't have to do that to be a good person. I don't have to do that to love everyone aside from their race, creed, color, religion, or any of that. See, so it's really, if you really look at it, get your glasses clean to look at someone and say, you are being forced by me through shame or any other means to behave in a certain way that pleases me. That is in fact oppression, T-Reason, even on that micro scale that you're using it on. I'm a free man, you're a free man. Let's let one another celebrate whatever in the damn hell shit holidays we want to celebrate, and let's keep on walking and respect one another instead of trying to control one another like the celestial mother. And I yield the floor.
All right, it's on you now, T-Reason. Go ahead, my man. You got the final say on this one.
I think we need to start passing out Q-tips so these guys can clean their ears out, so that way we can have an open, valid discussion.
In other words, he ain't got no answer.
Because a lot of times,
he ain't got no answer.
They ain't need a tissue for his issue, and all I heard
Maybe
was
you could.
feelings. Oh, well, I'm a man, and if I want to celebrate this holiday, that's the holiday I want to celebrate. I said the Republican Party, and I'm talking about elected officials. Nobody on this panel is an elected official, and they all took it as a personal attack, which tells me their ears was full of.
I didn't take anything as a personal attack. You asked a question. I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. That's not a personal attack.
Because I didn't even get halfway through my statement. And
go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead and use more peer pressure and scorn and shame to try to get your way. You're not going to get it.
Okay, can I finish what I was saying, or are you going to interrupt me again?
You probably got
go ahead. You can use all the shame you want to use, man. Go ahead.
It clearly outlined exactly who the problem was and exactly where the problem started. And it was almost as though they wanted to discredit a valid argument without hearing it all the way through. The Republican Party, whenever we talk about the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, you hear them always say, well, the Democrats are the ones who had slaves and this and that. And third, the whole argument is now that same party, the Republican Party, take credit, now is saying we need to remove this as a federal holiday.
So basically the same thing you said at the beginning.
The fact that they're trying to remove it is the problem.
You ain't listen to yourself.
No, you responded to something I didn't say, and we could.
What did I say that? What did I respond to that you didn't say?
You started bringing up someone having a dog, and then having to celebrate how they handle their dog.
T-Reason, how would you feel if you didn't eat yesterday? How would you feel if you didn't eat yesterday?
I don't know. I ate yesterday.
Got him! Got him! So that just demonstrates that T-Reason is not able to fathom a hypothetical situation. A smart person, whether or not they ate yesterday, this is why I tell you to take breakfast.
I mean, obviously I would be hungry.
Oops, I was still talking.
But I may not be hungry, though. You don't know that.
I do know that. I just tested you and gave you the most basic hypothetical I could give you. If you didn't eat yesterday, you would be hungry. But your brain couldn't get there. I did eat. That is the exact answer of people who cannot understand hypotheticals and analogies. So you are not intelligent enough for this conversation, unfortunately.
Indian, just to let you know, a hypothetical, according to T-Reason, actually has to happen in reality in order for it to be a logical and real hypothetical. We went through this a couple weeks ago.
No. The only reason why I said that is because you were comparing it to a hypothetical that actually happens in reality. So when you're comparing a hypothetical that actually happens, something you're pulling out of thin air to try to take away merit from something that we know that we can point to and
we
say,
don't got to rehash the over, y'all. Y'all want to get back into it. Let's go to the comments, and let's go to the next one.
Just listen.
And remember, panels, y'all want to send anything in to be discussed, feel free to do so. So Leah Bobia says, IJ, I already know. I don't know what IJ. I already know.
IJ or TIJ is me. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I already know. You and Dane been broiling him. It's a deep fry. Y'all eating him up. Laughing emojis. Leah Bobia says,
I'm being upstaged. That's what's happening, but I'm happy with it.
Oh, yeah. It says T-Reason. Cool. So for all those white holidays, you're uninvited from the cookout, and I'm sure you never called me race for that, huh? Hector Serrato says, preach, Dane. Oh, look at Hector out there. Okay, what's up, my boy? Okay,
so I need an invite from her to attend something.
Yeah. So we covered all that now.
Y'all
want to send any topics in the let me know. We're going to the next question real quick. This is going to be definitely a shift right here. So this one right here, I'll set this one up. Says a lot of times people having conversations about somebody that owed them money or whatever the case may be. So I just want to get, we're going to go by person here. Just in a minute or less, just kind of make for everybody out there that wants to learn from this topic over here. The question is, what are the rules for the borrower when asking someone for money? And so this comes up a lot. I'm sure everybody's dealt with this in personal life at some point in time in their life. So let's just start it off a minute or less. Just kind of give your positive case for what do you think the rules are for somebody who's borrowing money from somebody else when they're the one asking? We'll go ahead and start off with you, Wicked. What you got?
I wouldn't say I have. I mean, there are rules for the borrower, but I would say the number one rule I would say is, as the giver has a more important role, is don't expect your money back. And that's it.
So the rules for the borrowers don't expect your money back?
No. The rules for the borrower, I think, does have rules. It's like, you should at least make an attempt to give your money back. But I think the more important rule that supersedes the guy who's asking for the money goes to the guy who's giving the money is don't expect your money back. Okay. Like, you could give it to him, friendly, but don't expect to have your money back. Correct. My thing goes more to the lender.
We'll get you on the next one then. All right, yeah. So Indian Jesus, what do you got?
I agree that's probably a good rule of thumb. Don't expect to get your money back. But if you is the borrower, what's the rules for the borrower?
The borrower, yeah.
So first of all, if you are going to take money from someone, then the first thing is to set up a timeline or a schedule or something. I'll get you back next week. I'll get you back whenever, and then stick to that. Don't wait for them to ask you just because you can. If even selfishly, because then the next time you need money, then they're like, oh, this dude's gonna wait for me to ask for it back. So just give the money back. And if you have an issue, like there's, I've been in situations where I've lent friends money and they legitimately didn't have it back, have it to give me back. And they were just like ghosting and dodging. And before the deadline that you would have already set up, like, yo, I'm going on this. Can we push that to whatever? And you get 2 of those max. Push it twice max, but pay back the money.
All right, T Reason, what about for yourself?
Don't borrow any money you don't intend to pay back. And have the same energy that you had when you borrowed it. So if you called and pestered that person, and was blowing up their phone, when you got the money to pay them back, be calling and texting and be blowing them up to send them the money back. Establish a time frame, whatever time frame. If you say you're going to have it for me in 3 weeks, have it in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Have the same energy and effort that you applied when borrowing it. And don't borrow any money you don't intend on paying back. You know what I mean? If that's the case, you might as well just ask if they can give you the money. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people would rather just give you from the kindness of their heart, knowing that you need help. If you say, can you give me or can you help me out with XYZ? Sometimes people will help you. But if you say the word borrow, as soon as you say the word borrow, there's an expectation of return. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes people, the lender has other things they could have been using that money for, and they could have made a sacrifice for you in that moment to help you with whatever reason you needed to borrow the money. So the borrower has the onus of paying back whatever amount they borrowed. Because if you borrow from somebody, typically they're not going to charge you interest. But if you borrow from a bank, you're going to have to pay interest, et cetera, et cetera. Your credit's going to be impacted. They could place a lien on your house. There's a lot of different things that can come into play when you borrow from a bank. So when you borrow from another person, have the expectation of, I'm going to take the same amount of effort that they gave to give me the money to give it back to them. And they're not going to they shouldn't have to come looking for you. The minute they got to start calling you and pestering you about their money back, the borrower is in the wrong.
Got you. All right, Dang, what about for yourself? I don't know if you saw the question.
On mute.
I wish I could get my OBS to stop loading down my MacBook, my iMac right now. But no, I don't know. I think that if someone loans me money, and then I can somehow or another tell them that I had a tough time in life, and my ancestors and this, that, and the other, that I don't pay it back to them. They can't say anything about it unless they're going to celebrate Juneteenth. That's what I said.
Now, if you want to give the last 2
seconds, that makes about as much sense as T Reason's arguments.
Right now? You ain't making no sense right now. I'm not surprised.
Okay, so
that was just as much of a connection as your arguments had.
Got him.
Nah,
Got him.
just because you said doesn't mean it's true. You just did a whole bunch of word salad, Thumbelina.
I know y'all.
Well,
I don't know what that even means. Just because you said it, don't mean it's true. I mean, what is that? Do you actually have an argument, or is all you have is some woman poetry?
You had all no argument. Did you hear what you just said?
Have is this woman poetry. I said what I said, and why don't you just clap your hands when you talk? Just because you said it don't mean it's true. Well, do that for me.
No, you just can't comprehend. That's the problem.
You made a connection to something else that had nothing to do with it. You way off topic, man. Get back on topic.
Yeah, so Dane, anything else you wanted to say on that topic?
That's what I thought.
It might be lagging a little bit.
Yeah, Dane's lagging, definitely.
You got some jet lag.
Indian G's, you have something you wanted to say?
No,
yeah, I'm lagging. Something's up with my OBS. I'm finna shut my OBS down, and then I'll just come back in straight to StreamYards.
I think this is the one time where we all have different points, but agree.
Oh, you can't even spell OBS. Shut up,
Shut up, Dane. You can't even stream right now, bro.
Yeah, so okay. I think we covered that one pretty much. So we covered the rules as far as on the borrower side. Anybody have any interesting story they want to share that they think might be beneficial for the audience or the panel?
There was this one time I gave T Reason free advice and he couldn't even take it.
I had to do a return to sender almost immediately on that. I don't take bad advice.
All right, what we got next, Itos? Okay, what are the rules for the lender? And Wicked, I know you had one. Go ahead, Wicked.
Yeah, my rules for the lender would be first and foremost rule, which is the most important rule, is don't expect your money back. Then secondly, I guess it would depend on the person you're lending to, would determine the terms that you come to an agreement with. Because I would say, like, if it is a family member, you might be a little more lenient with, let me pay you back next week instead of, the determined time, compared to someone who's just a friend. But I would definitely try to make it sure that it's somebody that you're trustworthy of lending the money to, or somebody you wouldn't mind losing the money to.
All right. Indian Jesus, what you got? I got a question for y'all after y'all go through this first round.
Sure. I mean, I think this is just the opposite of my last answer. If you're the lender, number one, don't. But if you do, then again, set up a timeline and only lend to somebody that you think is trustworthy. Because even then, like we could say, don't expect your money back. And so I just say don't. Them's the rules.
T Reason, what about for you?
I think you should establish parameters. I think you should let the lender know that, or the borrower, have you guys come up with a fair time frame, and whatever that time frame is, stick to that time frame. Let them know the same effort or the same amount of time it takes me to give you the money is the same amount of time I'm expecting it to be returned back. You know what I mean? And then give a reasonable time frame. Don't just immediately start calling and blowing them up saying, hey, I need my money back, especially like before the agreed upon time, saying, well, life happened to me and I got to deal with this and that and the third, and I need that money back. Well, you already said I got to the 28th. It's only the 21st. I still got 7 more days. So I think the lender should stick to the agreed upon terms and hold the borrower to the agreed upon terms. And then also pestering. I think that's one thing lenders tend to do, is they'll call you and blow you up crazy hours of the day. I think you should make it reasonable. I think you have the right to make an effort to get your money back, but I think at the same time, let's not turn it into a stalking situation or something like that. But I think if it's depending on the amount of money, once the agreed upon date is reached, I think they can take whatever means necessary they deem necessary to get their money back.
Well, let me ask
I just got one thing to add to him on the time thing real quick. Let's go back to the part of the borrower. I think it would be actually a good idea. Say you needed terms for 2 weeks. I would ask for 3-week term and give it back in 2 weeks. So always ask for more, but give back sooner.
You answering the other question that you didn't answer the first time.
Well, no. Well, the first time I said it, I was like, you should always, intend to pay the money back and actually have a timeline and agree to it. But I think that the more of the burden goes to the lender than it does to the borrower. That's why I was saying, I think the burden of responsibility would go to more of the lender because it's your money. So you're responsible for your money, not somebody else. So being you're responsible for your money, you need to make the decision. It is more important for you to make a decision that you're going to give your money to a person that is trustworthy, or like I said, that will bring it back, or you're willing to lose it to, like a family member, a best friend who, you know what I mean? Like it's more of like Jesus said, where you rather give the money instead of borrow the money.
Well, let me ask you,
You
this
know what I mean?
Because what sparked this idea, I had to even have this as a conversation many moons ago, was I was riding with two guys and they were saying that the thing they can't stand the most is somebody that lends somebody money if they bring it back up after the fact. So, like, how flagrant is that to y'all?
Oh, that's
to them was like unforgivable.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I agree with that.
So yeah,
I
don't know, because I think it.
Hold on.
Let the
Indian Jesus. He's going real quick. The Indian Jesus. Then you next, T Reason.
I think that the sorry, now I forgot the question. What were we
I was saying that I rode out with two guys, and one of the things they said is that when the lender brings back the person borrows something, they said that's one of the most flagrant things you can do in that.
Yeah, so if you're actually doing it in a serious manner, like, yo, are you gonna do this to me? Last year I gave you money. Yeah, that's flagrant. But there are ways to be, there are reasonable ways. Like if you're in a very one-sided friendship, at a certain point, it's like, yo, this is becoming a one-way street. So I think that has to be a pattern. But on an individual thing, that if you decided to loan somebody money, and they paid you back, then it's equal.
All right, T Reason.
So I disagree with Wicked. I think the borrower has all of the responsibility because they're the ones borrowing, so they need to be the one to pay it back, and it's biblical. So I think that when you borrow some money, you should return the money. But I think also it goes back to the fact that when you loan somebody money, you're at risk of not getting the money back. So I think it's much worse when you loan somebody money and you never get the money back. You may feel that sting, for a long time. So for that person to bring it up later that they loaned somebody money, they took a risk. They took a gamble. The risk was on the lender, not on the borrower.
Well, you're putting two things together. This is two separate topics, and you're putting them together.
No,
but if you go back to my point, it would tell you why. He's just asking is if it's. Hold on a second. Hey, what's up, Dan? He's back.
Hey, man.
You're able to stream now?
Who knows, man? I hadn't had this problem until today. I think it's probably because T Reason's here.
Yeah, my server connection too powerful for yours, man. You got a weak connection.
Your tampon is getting in the way of my OBS.
Stream is trying to prevent you from putting your foot in your mouth. Your big old foot, man. That's what happened.
I got something big that's down in that direction, but it ain't no foot. Well, you could say it's a foot and a half.
You talking about your belly?
Talking about his beard.
I guess depending on how it look. It looked kind of like a fist, a baby fist, but.
Yeah.
There we go, off topic again.
Oh man! So yeah, especially y'all right.
You don't even know what the topic is. He wasn't here.
Yeah.
He left right before the topic got discussed.
So
he came in answering off topic too when he got asked the question.
Man, you like talking about me, man. You don't have one of them pictures of me on your wall with my rippling abs and my pecs, do you?
You give me a lot to talk about. What you want me to do?
I think you might be like struggling with tendencies, man, as much as you want to talk about me.
You give me a lot of.
You got a fat fetish, don't you?
Nah,
you got a fat fetish?
I actually don't. I tolerate you.
Okay, I'm just saying you like talking to me a lot.
So the topic was about the lender. Like I'm gonna put it back on the screen, But what are the rules for the lender when somebody asks to borrow money? So everybody said their rules, Dane. Now we're on. I gave them a scenario. I was riding with two guys, and they were saying one of the worst things is when somebody lends money and they bring it back up that he lent the money to somebody before. And they said that's one of the most flagrant things. So I'm getting everybody's perspective on that. T Reason, I think you were finishing up.
You want me to go ahead and finish?
Yeah, you finished.
That's a joke.
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
so I was just saying that I think the lender can bring it up if they want to. And I think it's also to discourage the borrower from continuing a pattern of putting the lender in a risky situation where they may lend the money again and not know when they're going to get it back. You know, they got to chase them down and get their money back. So I think that if they lend to somebody money, if they bring it up, they bring it up. Don't borrow. Don't be a borrower. And then you don't have to worry about a lender bringing it up.
Got you. All right. Dang,
Now, are you talking?
Dan, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think I'm here.
Yeah. So you
blinking.
another question?
As far as the question, when I loan money to people, I just, in my mind, I just consider it a gift. And if they give it back to me, I'm happy. And if they don't give it back to me, I just go on about my business. You know,
Are
that's
you
just
allowed
kind of
to
how
bring
I've
it up?
always been. You know, now as far as the rules, I mean, sure, you need to pay the money back, but then I end up in a position like if they don't pay, like I'm not gonna loan money to them unless they're pretty good friends of mine, pretty close family or whatever. And then if they don't bring the money back to me, like then I have to say, because the way value works is this: you exchange your labor for dollar bills. So those dollar bills are like little batteries of your labor. So when you loan that money to that person or you buy something, when you buy something, it's because you believe that something you buy is worth at least as much of your labor as you had to give to get it. So when you look at loaning money to someone and they don't pay you back, well, then I ask myself, how much of my labor is this person's relationship worth? And if it was worth enough for me to give them money to begin with and they don't pay me back or they can't pay me back or whatever, I see them rolling down the road with those, $4,000 new rims on their car or something. That's going to kind of piss me off, but it's not going to be something I'm going to end a relationship over.
Okay. So and Wicked, what about for you? I don't think you went yet, right?
So I'm just gonna say, so T, are you talking about a single time that somebody does it, or are you talking about if they, multiple times ask you for money, then they bring it up and it's okay?
I'm talking about both.
Yeah.
So hold on. So
borrow money, and then they bring it up.
Right. So if it is, so let's say it's like one time I ask you for money, I pay you back, everything is fine. There's been no altercation or no issue. Like I didn't pay you late. None of that. Right. And then you bring it up like, oh, I gave you money and this and that. That's just a little bitch move. Like that's some petty shit. You know what I mean? To kind of hold a one up. Hold on. I'm not done. I'm not done. Now, if you were to ask multiple times and maybe not pay back or have some kind of paying back late and stuff like that, then I would be like, hey, I gave you money here, you didn't do this and that. I would be like, that's fine with that. But if it's a one-time situation and everything went as is, to bring it up, I think would be petty.
I think you're right, but I also think that no one's going to go into that detail when the other person brings it up. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times when you're in those situations, because I've been in rooms where people bring up the fact that somebody else borrowed money and they paid them back, whatever the case may be.
Right,
they don't
and
go
they're
into
trying
the
to be
details
petty
of how many times and all of that stuff. All they're doing is just trying to make themselves look good, and I agree to an extent. It is
which
kind
is
of
being petty.
low, but
debate over.
But an example that I would give you that I think about too is like if I beat you in a one-on-one game of basketball. You know what I'm saying? If I beat you one-on-one, I beat you one-on-one. So I can bring it up in a room full of people and say you can't guard me, and I beat you one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? It's something that took place. It's something that happened. So you got to take it on the chin as a man. You got to be able to take that on the chin. It's something that happened in reality, not in a fictional, hypothetical world.
Yeah, but that's totally different than you're talking about. That's why I ask if it's a. That's why I ask you because that's why.
Totally different.
How?
Okay, well, it's a major event between
hold on here.
That
ask me how 4 more times, and then I'll answer. I'll try to answer you again.
How?
3 more.
How?
2 more.
How?
1 more.
Count either? He
Okay.
can't count
So
either.
there we go. Now that I made you my bitch and say how 4 times, listen. Okay.
That's what you think? So
no, I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you.
Don't make me turn into AT&T.
But what I'm saying, but if you actually listen to what I'm saying, instead of trying to argue with me, you can actually understand that we're actually saying the same exact thing. Maybe if you say it one time and it's okay, you actually agreed with me. One time, everything went fine. no problem. But if it's multiple times and the person is in the wrong, who is actually the borrower, and the person keeps bringing it up, it's correct. So if we both agree on that, then what's the argument?
I think we both agree, but I was just giving you some other things to think about on top of that. That's all I was doing.
So we both agree.
Yeah.
And you just want to go on to another thing of something we agree upon?
What are you talking about? I just said.
Well, we agreed, but we agreed on the situation, and then you're like, well, what if this? Well, we just agreed on it.
To me, it's also still like a game of basketball where if I beat you 1-on-1, you probably don't want me to tell the whole room that I beat you 1-on-1. But if I feel like bringing it up,
but if you beat me 1-on-1 in basketball one time, and you say that, it's kind of petty. But if you beat me 2, 3, 4, 5 times, guess what? You're in the right, and you can bring that up every damn time.
Yeah, I can agree.
But that's
with that.
basketball. And
so again, we're agreeing again. So what is the point?
Hold on. The Indian week, Jesus had something he wanted to say.
I'm just saying that it's not comparable when we're talking about lending money
absolutely
versus winning a sports game. They're not.
It is absolutely comparable, and that's
well,
why
the topic. No. So the topic isn't money versus basketball. The topic is about bringing up the point of having something over another person.
Right.
Having that one up on somebody else. And essentially at the end of the day, if you try to bring a one up against another man, that's a woman move, because you're just trying to be like, oh, well, I'm better than you, which is what most women do because they can't physically attack. But if you were to bring up a one up like multiple times, then we could agree on the same thing. But one time doing it is a petty bitch move.
Does that count for
any way you look at it?
Does that count for every situation?
Example.
So, like, if we're having a poker night and I beat you, you okay over there?
I think he's having some stomach problems.
Because you was having a hard time.
I was talking until you started moaning.
I guess his tampon's drying out.
So again, I was saying, if we had something like a poker tournament and I beat you in 5 hands in a row, then you're saying
you would have every right to brag because it's 5 hands in a row. If it was 1 hand, you wouldn't have a right to brag.
Okay,
because that's being petty.
Fair. So here's where I'm saying it doesn't apply.
Can somebody get T-Reason to hush for a minute? Let somebody else talk. Good Lord, he's like
their argument is invalid.
You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. We are capable of our own minds in the same way that you infantilize the black NFL players in that. You're infantilizing us right now. We are grown men that can have our own conversation. We don't need you to do it, and you're not capable of doing it anyway. What I was saying is so fine. You're saying in a poker game, 1 hand, you can be like, I got you, or you can't say, I got you. But 5 hands, you could do that. My point is that the same thing as borrowing money 1 time? And saying, you can't say anything because it's 1 time. But if I borrowed money 5 times, that's what I'm saying. It's the framing are different. The weight of winning a game versus loaning or borrowing money. Yeah, sorry, my brain works faster than you can handle.
No, it doesn't. Your brain don't work that fast.
Your brain don't work at all, motherfucker.
You don't even know the dude, T-Reason.
You still haven't uploaded the data from your brain to your mouth. You struggling here.
You don't even know the dude.
Because there are concepts
you don't even know the dude, man.
Just basic bullshit. Oh, Republican, bad. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. So I'm thinking about it on the spot and spitting it out just as fast, just as quickly as you're spitting out the same bullshit that you've been saying for the last hour. Has nothing to do with any of the topics that we're talking about. But yeah, I'm a stupid one too. I wish one day I could be as smart as T-Reason.
I know you do.
So he doesn't get analogies, he doesn't get hypotheticals, and he doesn't get sarcasm.
You can't even explain your point.
I just did.
Okay, Wiki, what was his point?
Yo, yeah, I'm stupid. Maybe if you listen instead of trying to make fun of somebody who's clearly more intelligent than you, then you understand. You can learn.
I want to see if Wiki can actually explain your point.
It's amazing.
Just
shut up your mind, and there's things that you never thought about before, and then they go into your head, and then you know them.
You're still spurging out. His point, Wiki, can you explain his point? I want to see if you actually made one.
So I think what he was trying to say is that you can't analogize lending money to a basketball game. essentially, because winning a basketball game is different than lending money. They're really not in the same realm of things that are actually kind of like, how important is money to you versus a basketball game? Like, they're not even like, you could compare them, I guess, but how well do they compare together? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can beat me in a basketball game, but lending money is a little bit different than a basketball game, in my opinion.
And
I think that's what he was trying to say.
I guess that didn't make any sense then, right?
Hold on, Indian. Let me finish. So how does that equate to 5 hands of poker?
What do you mean? Say that again.
How does that equate to the 5 hands of poker that he brought up? How does that tie in?
And the 5 hands of poker?
Yeah. Isn't that what he talked about?
I was making the same point. You were saying basketball, so then I switched it to poker because of the idea that there would be different hands. So the same point applies. It's not a different point. It's just basketball is not relevant to or on the same level as borrowing money, in the same way that poker is not on the same level as borrowing money. Are you the same?
Okay, so my question is 5 hands of poker?
Read these comments real quick.
All right.
Onside says basketball versus money is definitely not comparable. One is bragging rights. That's like saying the Knicks are petty for celebrating their win. I guess that's in the comments. So
the reason why I say they're the same is because they're both events that took place. That's the reason why I'm saying it's the same.
Can you give me an example of an event that did not take place?
Me slapping you front ways and back ways.
That's not an event.
That would be.
It would be an event if it happened.
Exactly. So
but it didn't happen.
That did not
so it's not
place.
An event. Okay, show me the event.
Exactly.
You
just gave a hypothetical of 5 hands of poker. That was an event that didn't take place.
I mean, I just said that to kind of poke fun at you, but the point is, it is a potential event. It is not an event until it happens. I was making fun of your language, saying an event that happened.
No, you can use a hypothetical.
Redundant. You don't have to say
that
it happened
to create an event,
because that's what an event does.
I think we covered that one pretty well, y'all. So what's the next one we got? Please. This has been fun. Okay, so this question right here: why is wearing a dress in a movie worse than playing a gangster or pimp? So this comes out of the idea, I don't know if y'all see it, where they have these videos online, people showing particularly black actors in dress or in drag, however you want to say it. And so people are saying, look, there, that's buck breaking, it's being a sellout. I mean, I'm not going to say too much. I want everybody else to kind of give their perspective. So the question is, why is that frowned upon more, the wearing of a dress, more so than being a gangster and a pimp on TV? And we'll start off with the Indian Jesus on this one.
I think that there is a lot of connection to like the humiliation rituals when it comes to the dress thing. I don't necessarily think that on its own, in a vacuum, there's anything wrong with playing a character that is a man that's wearing a dress. It's different than if you want to be doing that in your real life. But playing a character, I understand that it's used in that way, but in and of itself, I don't really see a problem with it. And then so I would again, just in a vacuum, I would say that it's not worse than playing gangster or a pimp, but because we have a storied history of people claiming that they've been put in a dress to get opportunities, I would say that you're bending the knee to whatever powers that be. I don't know who they are.
All right, T-Reason, it's on you.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to the fact that men don't feel comfortable doing that. In most societies, especially here in the West, you're not going to have a man go into the store and purchase a dress for himself unless he is, his sexuality is questionable. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it goes back to it being a form of humiliation where now you have this masculine man dressing up in a feminine way, carrying himself in a feminine way, and they use it in that form because it was considered very taboo for a man to dress up as a woman and put on lipstick and put on makeup and prop themselves up with like female body parts and different things like that. So it's looked down upon. People use it as a derogatory term to say you're gay or you look like a woman or you look like a female. It's not such a prestigious event that's taking place like being a gangster or a pimp. Those things are more accepted by the male culture as opposed to dressing up like a woman. And I can see why the Indian geniuses would have no problem with dressing up like a woman. But I take a problem to that, and there's a lot of men in America who
Why? Because you're gay,
and that's the reason why it's a problem, and that's why we don't do it, because we don't want to be portrayed as gay or portrayed as feminine or have ourselves aligned with the feminine qualities. We think that's assigned to the female gender, so we allow them to do that. So a lot of times you'll have artists, celebrities, movie stars that don't want to dress up that way. But when we see them dress that way, we kind of wonder is there more to the story as to why they're doing it.
All right, Wiki, what about yourself?
All right, so for me, it's pretty simple. If you're putting a man in a dress, you're trying to get him to be a woman. A man can never be a woman can never be a man, period. If you're dressing up a man and a woman, you're just playing cosplay, you're insulting women, you're degrading that man, you're just pretty much making him into a mockery of a man. You're making him into a mockery of a woman, because anytime you dress a man up as a woman, all you're doing is portraying a image of what you think a woman is. And it's the same thing as the trans community, which is just disrespectful to whatever gender that you're trying to pretend to be.
Got you. And then as far as when it comes to this conversation, I think the last time I heard it really blow up was what Cat Williams was talking about it. Well, yeah, so I'm sorry. We're gonna play this clip real quick.
I remember that.
No,
I remember
exactly
that from the Sharp.
Okay, here it goes.
I got a PM right here.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Cat, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner. You my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We gonna do it together.
We're like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not. It's a weird thing. It's not like.
I mean, I would think before that question comes up, has anybody made the case for why it's wrong to wear a dress? The Romans did it. I mean, Shakespeare, their time period, women weren't able to be actors. So it was the boys played the females.
So Juliet was a man the whole time. That's what you said.
So I mean, my question is, I've never heard anybody make a real case for why it's wrong to wear a dress.
Here with that music. Are we sure this isn't copyrighted music? I already got a strike on the channel.
Yeah, let's
stop.
You're muted, Vulcan.
Oh, well, that was the video that Enos made, so I thought he would know if the music was good. But I guess
I don't know, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
He turned it off.
Yeah, so if you was trying to get the images to play, just mute it so that way the sound doesn't play, so we don't get the music straight.
I mean, I think we've all seen.
Yeah, it's a video that he made, so I mean, I would assume it should be.
So I mean, as I'm definitely very anti, especially when it comes to children, the whole trans thing. I don't really see the connection of playing a character in a movie and they're pushing trans. I don't see that connection.
Well, no. I was just saying, as a dressing up as a woman, as that connection, as if you were to dress up as a woman here, you dress up as a woman there. I guess it would really fall onto your theological view. If you're a secular, then it's no problem for you to dress up in a dress or whatever it is. But if you are a actual follower of the Bible, it would be wrong for you to dress up in women's clothes, because it specifically tells you in the Bible that a man shall never dress in a woman's clothes, nor shall a woman dress in a man's clothes.
So how do you feel about kilts?
What do you mean kilts? As in like the little. So I guess that would be determined to the specific culture of the people. I guess that would, if it relates to your culture and it's an actual like homage, not just cosplay, I think it would fall a little differently.
Okay, so what about it's Irish or Scottish? Whichever one it is.
Scottish.
I think it's Scottish.
What about a Scottish,
they both wear
Scottish
kilts.
American? A Scottish American wearing a kilt in America.
Is a kilt a dress?
Or is it a
kilt?
That's my question to you.
I think a kilt is different from a dress. I think they're two different items of clothing.
Fair enough. Bucks in my chat.
Because when you go to
$90 kilt. Damn.
When you go to a dress store, do you see kilts in there?
I don't go into dress stores.
I'm just saying. Okay, so say you go, but say you were to go to. I'm just saying, like, say you were to go to a mall. Say you go to a mall and you're walking around like J.C. Penney, Sears, or whatever, like clothing store that has women's, boys, girls, men's sections. You know what I mean? Do you see kilts? You know what I mean? Where there would be like a girls section or dresses or anything. So would that really be considered a dress?
I think so. The specifics, what you said, we're talking about men's clothing versus women's clothing.
Right. And I don't think a kilt would qualify as a dress to where a dress would be specifically women's clothing.
Right. And so as someone who is not a follower of Christianity, it doesn't, I don't have that basis to see like, oh, well, because of that. And so would you agree?
That's why I said.
Yeah. So without that specific directive from the Bible or God or however you want to put it, then it's strictly a Christian issue that you have with it.
I guess if you wanted to wear the dress, again, I guess it would depend on the situation that you're trying to wear it in. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to wear a dress to play the role of a woman, I think that is wrong because it's insulting to women, and that's just not. Now, if you're wearing like a kilt, like you said, because you're a Scottishman and you're having like a hair, it just goes. It would have to go with the situation, essentially. But again, I also wouldn't consider a kilt a dress.
I agree with you. I was just genuinely asking.
I understand. I understand the point of your question because people would consider a kilt like a skirt or a short dress kind of thing. So I can understand why you would ask that question. But I would say it would really fall onto the. I don't consider that to be a clothing. A kilt is more of a male garment even in Scotland. That's not a women wear dresses. Like it's like women. I don't think I've seen women in kilts.
Yeah, I think even heels start off as menswear. But Dana, you had a point that you wanted to make on this
about I came in the middle of the video thing, but I'm assuming the question is whether or not there's something wrong with men wearing women's clothing. I guess
essentially.
Why is wearing a dress in a movie worse than playing a gangster or pimp?
Oh, I don't know. That sounds almost like.
You see this pop up a lot. You see this pop up a lot in people's conversations on social media, and then especially within Hollywood. Cat Williams talked about they try to put me in a dress. They try to put me in a dress. I'll mention it as well. So there's a heavy emphasis on it being a negative thing, especially emasculating, specifically for Black men. I think you see it the most. But when they say you try to put a man in a dress, they're trying to emasculate him. They're trying to.
Well, me personally, I think I don't know how true the blue dress stuff is that Cat Williams talks about. I don't know how accurate that is, but assuming that it's true, then I would see both of those things as being, Hollywood and such doing things, as you said, to emasculate the, Black men, that they do that to, because portraying gangsters and gangbangers in a positive light and stuff to the point that since the late 80s, early 90s, when that gangster culture began to be promoted so much in the media, it's had a detrimental effect, if nothing else, on what the rest of the world thinks of when they think of Black culture being criminal and being promiscuous, it being single parent homes. So whether it's the blue dress or whether it's teaching Black people and other races that gang banging and that sort of stuff are Black culture, both of those are detrimental that diminish the Black family and the Black community from what it was at one time in history. So I would see those two things as equally bad.
Anybody got a comment they make? I want to cross-examine somebody on the panel.
Yeah, Dan, you're equally bad.
So I mean, is this more of like a?
Does anybody have any idea what that fool's talking about?
Nope.
I mean, so just to say, would this be more reference of a sense of it's putting Black men in dresses or men in general?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's probably both, but I just know I hear it happen a lot more in like Black social media, the discussion.
Well, I only asked because I would say if you were to go with the Black end of it, I think that would have to do with culture, being that it is portrayed as being a homosexual in Black culture as bad more than it is to be a gangster or a pimp. That is more glorified if you listen to the rap music, if you listen to, you know what I mean, things that go on, they glorify those things more than they would a man in a dress. So that's why I ask if you're trying to do race specifically or just men in general.
Yeah, I would say this the conversation as a whole. I'm sure that, I mean, I've primarily seen it within the Black conversation, the Black community discussing it.
I would agree because I don't know many movies besides Robin Williams where there's men in dresses, well, white men in dresses at least.
Tootsie.
I mean,
I've never seen that, and that sounds kind of gay. You know
me
that.
neither, but
no, Woody Harrelson. I think in Anger Management, I think it was Woody Harrelson was wearing the dress.
Yeah,
I don't think I've.
He was definitely gay in that movie.
I don't think I've seen that, but I would agree that that'd be.
No, I'm thinking of those.
Anger Management. Yeah, he was a lady. He dressed like a woman in Anger Management.
Yeah. Again, like I think if any man dresses up as a woman, it's just completely wrong because how do you know what it is to be a woman? You're not a woman. You never will be. You'll only know what the stereotypical things of what you hear about a woman is. So how could you portray something that you don't really even have the ability to concept of what they are is? How can you portray that?
I think that's reading too much into it, to be honest with you. It doesn't bother me a bit if some man wants to, put on clothes that's stereotypically thought of as women's clothing. It didn't bother me at all. When I was younger, heck, there was a few times I dressed in drag just for a gag. It was a lot of fun. It was back when I was young and skinny.
Can somebody clip that for
I
me?
made a beautiful woman, but it was a gag. It was a joke. It was a joke. Ha ha. We had fun. I don't think there's anything in the world wrong with that.
Actually, sorry to interrupt here, Dan, but there's actually a guy on YouTube where he was like, he'll like do things and hit high heels just to prove that women are exaggerating how uncomfortable high heels are. Backflips. He'll run a mile.
I think it really has to go with the intent. I think
that's because men are just better than women in general.
Do what now?
That's just he did that just to prove how men are better than women in general. I mean, for God's sake, man won Woman of the Year.
His first year as a woman too.
But my point is, I think that intent matters. I think if the man's putting on women's clothes because he's trying to say, that, he's a woman and that sort of stuff, I think that's a mental disease. But I think if a guy dresses up for a Halloween party, dresses up in drag, or, truthfully, most transvestites, actual diagnosed transvestites, are completely straight men. They just get an emotional release, an anxiety release by wearing women's clothing. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that.
That's actually diagnosed. I forget what is what is the name of that called?
Right, but the point is that it's not the same thing as they're trying to trans the kids. Like there's steps in between. And so what I don't mean to speak for you, Dane, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I think we're on the same page, saying that yes, there is ways where this is abused in that realm, but it's not inherently that. And so with Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie, that was 1987 or something like that. I highly doubt that people were doing that for a humiliation ritual. And nobody thinks Hoffman is.
Well, you got to remember,
maybe he's gay because he wore that. You know what I mean? So
but you got to remember the times of the '80s were much different. In the '80s, straight men looked more like gay men than gay men looked like straight men. In the '80s,
you go to hell.
80s specifically. I mean, if you look at the way they dressed, you know what I mean. You would assume that they were gay, but they were straight.
Prince.
It's just because of the outfits that they wore. Like if they wore those outfits, if you wore an 80s outfit today, people would look at you and be like, "You're gay."
Well, I'll say this:
you can't disagree. You can't disagree with that.
It slightly changed.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say one thing I noticed, especially with the Cat Williams situation, is that taking the movie the next Friday, I think Friday after next, I think it might have been. He's expresses disdain for men wearing dresses, but he played a pimp in that role, and he played a very effeminate person in that movie. Check my Palm Pilot, that's all feminine behavior. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of interesting to see, in 1 minute he can have this hatred towards that as a some kind of humiliation ritual, but then his character, I don't know if it was that much different. One's dressing like one, and the other one's acting like one. As a pimp, he's wearing flamboyant colors.
Let me put it this way. I think that tying this in any way to the actual heart of the trans issue hurts any legitimate arguments against buying into trans, whether it's kids, adults, or whatever. I think this muddies the waters because it's not that. Yes, there are clothes of the other gender, but it's not trans LGBT. That's not what it is.
Does somebody on here think that's the case? Somebody thinks that this is a move to push trans culture.
I think it's more against the men becoming gay. I think it's not trans. I think it's
more of humiliation.
Yeah, I think it's more humiliation, but I think it's also because the black community looks at it as they're trying to make black actors portray themselves in a gay manner to kind of encourage younger black men to be gay or be openly gay or be like more increase the gay population amongst black males in America.
Let me say this. Let me give my reason for why you'll see black men in drag or in dresses more often. When we think about this, it's probably just the height of humor. I mean, the juxtaposition, you see this big black guy in women's clothing, it's like the Mike Tyson with a small voice thing. Just the juxtaposition there. That's the spice of humor. The darker skin is I think they've done studies in that black men are considered to be the most masculine by perception. And so you put that in a dress, you've got comedy, whether you think it's funny or not, people are going to think it's hysterical, and so I think, just because of the skin color, bodybuilders, they make themselves darker to, accentuate the muscles and stuff like that. All those things kind of play a role into it. Then you have the stereotypes that go along with being black. But I think that's just going to just make it super funny to people.
Well, if you want to talk about funny, they ain't seen nothing until they seen Dane in the dress. That's hysterical comedy.
See, but Vulcan, that's why I asked you specifically.
Leave what you think about at night.
Hold on, listen.
Yeah.
We don't
need to have those nocturnal missions. While I was thinking about me, Jesus. I mean, come on.
But Vulcan, this is why I asked you if it was more of a cultural thing with black people or white people, because I could see white people as finding that more as a funny, comedic route than it would be black culture to find it as a funny comedic route. That's why I asked that question.
I mean, White Chicks is most people consider it a classic. It's not really my cup of tea per se, but I mean, people love White Chicks with the Wayans brothers.
Well, hold on a second. You can't say black people like white chicks as a black person saying I don't like white chicks.
That reason is a contradiction.
Hold on. The exception doesn't make the rule. And
that we get into the composition decision fallacies.
I'm just saying it just didn't sound right at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think my taste is pretty much different in a lot of ways too. It's typical. But that's one thing people love, that White Chicks movie. That's one of those movies that pretty much gets a pass. I don't really hear the Wayans being accused of
okay, so that's okay, but you're using an exception.
On other shows,
that's an exception, but that's an exception to the rule.
Yeah, there's always an exception to the rule.
I will not disagree with that. There's always an exception to the rule, but the exception doesn't make the rule.
Exactly. That's what I just said. I said that right before I said that.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Is not the exception. Is it's exception.
So you're saying, you said the Wayans brothers. How many other are there?
The reason why I think the Wayans brothers get a pass though is because they've had other shows where they've done that. So we've already been accustomed to seeing them.
Well, let me give a different theory.
So that's why they get a pass. But when you have
give me a high five. I mean, come on, bro. How could you not love that right there? Come on, you know what I mean?
The reason why I think T reason. Yeah, I think the reason is it could be what you're saying. I'm not saying it's not, but my theory of why they get a pass is because they've been kind of known to be more in control of what they do. Their family is a powerhouse. They're able to do what they kind of want to do. So nobody's thinking that somebody's making them do something. I think that's probably why they get a pass.
That makes sense.
That's
much more at the helm.
That's also been their whole shtick from the beginning, is that outside the box, you know what I mean, not normal thing.
Yeah, they were dressed like a girl in the black SNL. What was it called again?
Living Color.
Living Color. Yeah.
How the brown guy gonna
Yeah. So in Living Color, they were dressed like a girl, but that was their brother.
But again, I think this also has to go with the time. Times were different then than they are now. So are we talking about then or now? Because you can't equate morals to now to morals then.
Well, I was just giving a reason because T Reason gave a good reason. I was trying to give another reason why maybe they don't get so much flack for it. And I was saying,
and I would agree with you, but in the times that they came up, things were not the same as they were now. Like things now are more shoved in your face and forced to be racial, forced to be sexual, forced to choose a side, forced to pick. Where before it's like, okay, you do what you do, we don't care, and we can all disagree or agree, and it really didn't matter at the end of the day. And to where now it's like, okay, well, if you don't think this, you're a bad person, you're this and you're that. So I think the times were different then than they are now. If you were to take that same time then and bring it to now, I think it would be viewed totally different.
Now, let me give you an example. Let's say Omar Hardwick was to dress up like
don't even know who that is.
The main character from Power, Ghost.
Okay.
So we had the main character from Ghost do a movie where now he's in a dress and he's acting real girly and kind of like a hot white chick style. That would
in
be
times
very
now,
jarring.
you would say he's gay. You would say he's gay in times now.
It would be very jarring. It would be hard to digest because
now, yes,
he typically plays the more masculine, more strong, upright role, and we're not used to seeing him in that type of attire. He's not a comedian. See what I'm saying? So he doesn't do funny. You know, he's more serious.
I would think it even funnier, probably, wouldn't it?
It would be jarring for me. I would be disappointed. I'd be like, come on, man.
It's like making Thor gay.
For me, it would ruin the image of him and Ghost as Ghost in Power.
I think
it would shatter that image for me. I wouldn't be able to look at Ghost.
The scarier you get, the funnier it gets, probably. Right? I mean, what's that black dude from The Longest Yard? Could barely speak English. He was a fighter.
Oh,
whatever his name was. Imagine him in a dress. People gonna bust out laughing as soon as they see it.
Dude, it's like when you see Terry Crews in a dress and doing, you know what I mean?
But
it's
Terry
like,
Crews has
but again, but you know, but you know why? Those guys were comedians from the beginning. Their whole act was a comedic act. So I think it's looked at differently. When you're portrayed as a comedian, everything you do is in a comedic lens.
Well, but hold on.
Compared to like a let's see, like what's his name? Say you had Tom Cruise dressing up in a dress. You would question that differently than Jim Carrey dressing up in a dress.
I don't know. I think Tom might have did it before.
Well, hold on. I think Indian G's was gonna say something.
Shit, I just lost it.
Because I had a good point. That's
what's
why.
The last thing you just said, Wicked?
The Indian G's. Well, you're finding Kelvin and Wild Wild West with Will Smith. Kelvin Klein, I think his name is. He wore a dress at one point in time. He was always taking on different views and different images of pretending to playing different characters. And he wore a dress at one point in time in there.
Okay, but hold on. Let me ask you a question real quick to that. To him specifically, was he a one genre actor, or did he portray multiple things? Where he was a comedian, a serious actor, where he tried to be multiple things as you knew it was acting? Because you know how there are some actors that do like one role instead of trying to branch themselves out. I think I would kind of lean a little differently compared to like Tom Cruise again has like one role that he plays in every single movie. You're not going to see him in a horror film or in anything besides an action film.
Right, but before you said it's different if you're a comedian, and if I understand correctly, no, not that it's different. I think it would be more acceptable.
Hang on, Wicked.
Let
RJ get finished, man. Let RJ get finished.
So this all started with that Cat Williams thing.
Dan, we're talking, so quiet.
I'm pretty certain that.
Man, you're talking over everybody, brother.
Dan, I can't hear you.
You're talking over everybody. You're talking over everybody, Wicked. Come on, man.
Kevin Hart. I'm pretty sure Cat Williams was explicitly talking about Kevin Hart in those interviews, and he's always been a comedian, and that he's seen as someone who got the Netflix roast and all of that stuff, all these movies with The Rock, because he did the humiliation ritual of wearing the dress.
And do you also know that but I also believe that Cat Williams and Kevin Hart have a lot of long-term beef to where they're going back and forth. So where he's going to try to take jabs at him. So I think he has a bias towards Kevin Hart. They're both like midget actors that try to go for the same part.
Hey, no short shame. All right. I'm 5'4".
Dude, I'm 5'7", bro. Give me a break.
All right. That's at least normal short. I'm woman
6'2", I can't relate.
You can't relate to a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you squirrels go on amongst each other while I continue to make my valid points.
Okay.
Wait, which
I
one?
don't know about valid point.
Which one?
Valid
point.
Which one was that?
Point. You made a valid
keep
point?
using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Just like
again, I'm buying you a dictionary for Christmas, bro. It's coming up soon. 6 more months. You're getting a dictionary.
All right, so
all three of y'all get dresses.
All right, so I think we covered that one pretty well. So what's the next one we got? So we got any comments? Okay. So we're gonna comment. Okay, we're gonna go into the question. Okay, so this one right here is I'm gonna give a little context to make sure all on the same page.
This is easy.
That's easy. That's men. It's men. That's a stupid question.
No, women, they already doing it. What you mean?
Hold on. We'll get you. So let's say once we get to Steven Spielberg's, what was it called? Movie called Artificial Intelligence. When we get to that level of it, where I don't know if y'all seen the movie Surveillance with Megan Fox. Once we have it common to where you can have AI robots walking that look like Megan Fox, or
women have had a year head.
At that time, not right now. At that time, who's going to be having copulation with robots, or women or men? And we're gonna go around. We're gonna go around the room a minute or less for your positive case. And then we'll get into
real quick before what are we constituting as a robot? Because
that's what I gotta ask you. I gotta ask that question.
Because if a regular, Dido is a robot,
that's why I was about to ask that same exact question. I was literally about to ask that same question for that exact reason.
And to take it a step further, if you know what the what is it called? I think it's called like a Sibian machine or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
machine that just that's not a robot. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So. Excellent question. I'm talking about more like the Steven Spielberg Artificial Intelligence or the movie Surveillance with Megan Fox, where they're actually able to have conversations. I'm talking about like once we get to that level where you can actually.
Can we break this down to race? Because I feel like Asians are going to win this one.
So once we get have somebody living with you, whatever the case may be, and they are a robot like those movies.
Gotcha.
Who will use them more? Women or men? And then we'll start with you, the Indian Jesus. What you got? Men or less?
Absolutely women. We already see the use of the toys that we already have. Fine, if those are not what we're counting as robots now.
That's not what we're counting.
There's no reason to think that the evolution of the technology that we're talking about would follow exactly that. And so they would use the relevant technology of the day, which would eventually become robots. Then we also have the understanding of AI psychosis. It is overwhelmingly women who fall in love with their chatbots. Some men do as well, but it's definitely a female problem. And so you merge the two, and I don't see how men are doing worse. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a lot of dusty ass dudes doing that, but it'll be every single woman. Especially if you think about the books that women read. Oh man, they don't watch stuff; they read stuff, and it's worse than anything. I don't know what you guys watch, but
all right,
that's my
what you got.
I actually agree with him for the first time tonight. Yeah, he was right. He was spot on. I mean, right now, if we measuring what they're currently using, if that counts as a robot, then women by far. But if you're saying the actual full humanoid form, it's hard to say. I would favor women right now, but I mean, obviously, men suffer with it too, and there is a large amount of incels, a lot of men that struggle with that. So I think they might like the idea of having a robot. I mean, you get to tell it what to do. It shuts up when you want it to. So it's almost like having the perfect woman. So it's hard to say. It's real hard to say, but I would say right now it favors women.
Okay. Dane, what you got?
Well, of course, it's going to be women that are going to do it because women are such emotionally led and controlled people. This is why a woman, I don't know a woman in my 54 years of life. I haven't heard a woman talk about her relationships that didn't have at least one psycho boyfriend or husband. And what they do is they'll go from the same psycho boyfriend with a different face and a different name, and they don't learn. And they always say, well, he tricked me. He got in my head and he tricked me and got control of me, which makes me wonder why we let them vote if they're that controllable according to their emotions. So these women, they do that. They make their decisions based on their zodiac signs, a lot of them, and that kind of stuff. They'll spend $300 on a pair of jeans that already have holes in them because somebody told them it made their butt look good. So, and you also have the issue with so many single mothers today that are wearing that are raising these good men who are really just men who won't challenge them and that sort of stuff. So when the AI boyfriends get more prevalent, and then good Lord, the robots, if they get to be lifelike, well, heck yes, because same reason we have cat ladies, because the cats do not give them any demands emotionally to contribute to the relationship. The cat's there when they need affection, and when the woman's not in the mood for a relationship, that she just doesn't pet the cat or the dog or whatever, whereas children and husbands do require from them. So that robot boyfriend that they can put in the closet, and when they want some companionship that doesn't cost them anything, they pull it out, turn it on. He's Mr. Fantastic. And then when they're not in the mood, put them back in the closet. Yep. That's the way it goes. A lot of women do that to their husbands today, but for generations, there's been a lot of men that were married to robots in the bedroom, but they was just an actual human being. Yes, I said it.
Yeah, so when them Zodiac Edition robots hit the market, man, they're going to be flying off the racks like hotcakes.
No idea what that even means.
I'm talking about for the women when they have Zodiac Edition robots, like a Taurus or a Scorpio or whatever.
Hold on real quick.
Sign they believe is their match. They're going to be flying off the rack. Invest in those.
Wicked.
All right, so I'm going to be the odd one out the group over here tonight, and I'm going to say it's the men. For the plain fact that more men are, let's say, involuntary celibate, which I think is a bullshit term to begin with. So we won't even go into that because that's a whole nother realm to open up. The fact that they could get sex on demand would lead them to use a robot more. Now, if we were to go into the terms of how they were saying women use their toys as of right now and classify those as a robot, I would lean more towards the agreement of women. But since the topic of the question is the actual physical robot itself, you're going to tell me that a man who has the option to deal with a woman or to deal with something that will do whatever he wants, will take that option of a woman over something that he can just do with what he wants is just completely absurd to me. I believe that most women want actual connection in the way that they think they want a actual connection with a human being and a person. I don't think that most women want men that they can kind of control or do whatever they want with, because if that was the case, all the men that are in their inbox and those little simps, they would be taking all of them. They wouldn't be taking that man that ignores them and kind of gives them that pushback to make them fight for that man.
Okay, all right. So we got Wicked that's saying he thinks it'll be more the men who use it more. So anybody want to cross-examine that? I say Wicked. Anybody want to cross-examine? Anybody want to cross-examine Wicked on that? We have a little bit of disagreement.
I mean, I think my cross-examination went in with my point that I made, because if you have men have an option to have sex with a woman where a majority, a high percentage of men these days have no sexual interaction with women at all. If you think that they are going to take that option over women who have the option to have sex with any man that they want, even if they wanted to, is absurd, because a woman could stand outside with a sign that says, hey, free sex. They're going to get approached 1,000,000 times more than the guy would that has a sign that says free sex.
Those are a lot of arguments I've used before, and I agree with you on that. And I also think the financial side plays into a factor too, because those robots are going to cost. The robots are going to cost a lot of money, and I think men are going to be the ones that are right there with cash in hand, ready to cash out, whereas women are going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to spend that much.
Why they're going to be why exactly? Women are like, why am I going to buy a robot when I have a man that can buy me my things?
Well, but if it's already we're already seeing the women being like, oh, there's no good men because of the things that we talked about before. So it's not a matter of, if you're talking about, incels and stuff, then that is definitely going to get worse.
Right, but these robots are sex robots. That's what they're designed for.
Right.
Women have to, but women hold the controls to sex. They have the key to sex. Men don't.
That's only that doesn't hold true if the robots are an actual replacement. And so we're already seeing that a lot of men are taking themselves out of the dating pool.
How many women want someone that can control?
Hold on, let him finish.
How many women what?
Okay, good. How many women want a man that they can control and do whatever they want with, versus somebody who's going to like tell them over? So once they get bored with that, once they have a man who's like some little bitch, they move on to the next man. They don't stay with that man. If they did, then that means that men who are actually like nerds and scientists and stuff like that would be getting more women than players and pimps and guys who are the complete opposite.
But my point
in the reality is that the men who don't want the women are the ones that they go after.
Okay, and so
the robot would be the other one.
What I'm saying is, in the same way that women want what they want from men want what they want from women. And so there's no reason that we would say that all of the men who are, let's just say, getting played right now are willing to deal with what comes with dealing with a real woman. And so there's some level of the guys of that level who are who the women want, who are going to take themselves out because, like, yeah, I can get play, but I got to deal with their attitude. And so then the men that are willing to do that are going to be, lower on the scale. They're not going to like that. I'm like, why would I, get with this Dusty, this short, this whatever, this fat guy, this whatever it is, when I can just perfectly make everything that I want. And as you said, they want to be able to tell it to do whatever they want. And again, we're just talking about a Roomba, a Roomba, ChatGPT, a dildo, and our grape fantasy books rolled up into one. There's no way that combination appeals more to men than to women. And again, I'm not saying that men won't like sex bots.
Well, let me ask you this, then, do you think this might change it? The fact that perhaps, and obviously it's going to depend on how the economics are going at that time, especially with the genders. But if it's something similar to now where women still earn less than men, part of the reason why women prefer, men, and they even deal with men is because of the resource aspect of it.
I mean, that's a whole conversation to get into that's begging the question. But even let's just say that the wage gap is true. We know that consumer spending is from predominantly from, or not predominantly, but more from women than men. And so again, going into the ideas of what we expect this behavior to how we expect this behavior to manifest, we're already seeing that whether or not women make the same, we'll put that to the side. Women spend a lot more of their money than men spend of their own money, unless it's within
did you get the question I was asking real quick? Just make sure you understand the question I was asking. I was saying part of the reason women like men is because of men have resources. So if these AI robots aren't bringing resources in, is it possible that men might go towards these sex robots more than the women, because women still want somebody bringing in money? They still have that desire to have somebody around that has money, and if the robot doesn't have that, where men does it? Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if
no, that's a good point. That's definitely a good point.
So I'm saying that could maybe balance it out a little bit more, because men don't require that from women. So really, what the robot can give, the man, pretty much is all he really would want.
Yeah, fair enough. And so I think
I'm just asking y'all if y'all think that could have an impact on it all, like that can change some things.
It could replace some things. It could be a replacement that happens in society in a large proportion of the male population, because I think it's like 41% of men get to reproduce or something like that. So most men compared to women,
compared to all women, right?
Right.
So now, real quick, let's go back to what Vulcan was saying. So, do you think? So, how many women even though that the sex is good from a man, still try to pursue another man who can provide for them with more than just sex. Because men, sex is more important and attraction is more important to women who want a emotional connection. So do you think, being that women want more of a emotional connection to where men just want sex and obedience, that the women would then pursue a robot which can only give them sex and obedience instead of a emotional connection? I hear a lot of crickets.
No, I mean, I have seen where women can have two relationships. They can have a relationship with a man that they're getting pleasure from sexually, and then another man that's like their wallet or their spender or the provider, so to say, that pays for everything. So
right now, but they can also get the sexual relationship from the provider as well. So now they're getting sex and providing instead of just sex.
How are they?
Women are hypergamous, so therefore they're always going to try to find better. So a robot can only provide you X amount, which is never going to be good enough.
Well, and I think that comes down to we're talking in the hypothetical. It depends on what the reality of these technologies are. So
right, and most likely the robot is going to be for a sexual thing.
Well, no. We don't know. So
the implementation can be AI. They can focus more on the relationship.
Can I say one sentence without being interrupted by you?
No, go ahead. I want to know.
Y'all got Jesus calling on himself.
I forgot my fucking point again. Jesus Christ.
Man, you just kind of thought easy. Hold on to it. Something. Write it down.
It'll come back.
Yeah, no,
well, it would be easier. It'd be easier if folks would give Lutz a chance to finish his thought before they just steamroll over top of him. I mean, I know I interrupt people a lot when I'm arguing, but I'm arguing on point. But I respond to an argument. People get like 3 or 4 words out, and it's like y'all just jumping in there, and then you don't have time to even finish your point. But it ain't none of my business. I'm just gonna sit here and eat my burrito. No pun intended. It's an actual burrito. So don't be giving me none of them LBGT innuendos. That ain't fun anyway.
Open your mouth wide and put it in there, Dan.
Gotta stuff his face in the middle of a pot.
Haram. Disavow.
You can't miss
disavow.
So I mean, I think we covered this one pretty well. I do think that there's, I mean, I do like the point that Indian Jesus said, and then I think T. Reason mentioned it, maybe Dane mentioned it as well, that if we look at just people using what we can approximate as robots now, it's no comparison. But I think the pushback I would give to that is just that, just given the anatomical structures, one for men, it's a lot more difficult to derive the same type of pleasure these women are getting from their toys.
Well, that's why I said if it was actual toys,
the things are changing, but historically, it's for the man, it's not.
They got a monopoly right now.
Yeah, as far as like the way that the structures work together. Once you once you get Megan Fox, I'm gonna keep using her as an example because I saw the movie Surveillance, to be able to be accessible to all kind of guys. She's licensing out her looks or whatever they might do, and now you got this guy who is completely, taken out of the
like Dane.
Bro, you're telling me that more men are not going to go to build a bitch than women are going to go to build a man?
Nope.
It depends on the implementation because
women don't know what they want.
Oh, you know what? I got an example for you. There's actually a video of a woman who brings up a good point to where I can't give you word for word, but I'll give you the summary of what she says. Is she pretty much says is like there's a group of women and they go into a mall, and on the first floor they're told that, hey, this is the guy you can get. He's A-B. And then they're like, you know what? That's not good enough. I want to go to the second floor. But on the second floor is guy A, B, and C. Now they can't go back to guy A and B. And even though A, B, and C sound kind of good, guess what? They still want to go to the third floor just to see, because they want to know that, hey, you know what? There could be better. I want that. Let me go see what it is. And by the time they get to the top floor, they're like, guess what? Your number 7,647,288 million. You know what I mean? It's like they always want more. Yeah, exactly. There are no men left. So essentially, because of their nature,
they get to the top floor and there's no men.
They're sold out. They're sold out of men.
Exactly, because guess what? You have all these women fighting after one type of woman.
You're done, Dane? Okay. Yeah.
But here's my thing, though, Wicked. To counter that, what if they advertise that robot to be that guy on that floor? They advertise him to be that perfect experience. So when they use the AI, they now can create.
And that's still not going to be good enough. That's still not going to be good enough for them.
Okay, so here's my
it
thing.
already is good enough.
But here's my thing, though. It's like going to like a attraction, like an amusement park, riding that
Listen
ride.
to me.
Even though you already know that ride is probably going to scare you once or twice, and you still want to go to that park and try that ride out. You see what I'm saying?
The reason women have eyebrows, shave them off, and draw them on.
Women do not. I make sense. And yeah, I think the
I'm just saying they're still going to want to ride the ride. That's all.
No matter what you do, it will never be good enough because they always want better.
And so that ties into the fact that a man might be happy enough with a fleshlight. Maybe the thing vibrates and warms up or whatever. You know, you're good to go. But the woman, based on what we're talking about here, the woman is going to want something better and better and better
fully
and
loaded,
better and better.
Fully loaded edition.
Correct. And even if you build a perfect robot, it's still not going to be.
Oh,
but that's my point. My point is they are going to invest money in higher and higher things, and they are going to continue that. That's going to be its own industry, whereas the men are going to get what they get. It's good enough, and there you go. I still think women will be more into it.
Yeah, I could see women being like I am with my iPhone, you know. Like, hey, I go get a new iPhone. Like, it's time to trade up. But I think that if they come out with actual believable robot women, and by what I mean by like a believable good robot woman is one that knows how to make a sandwich and do laundry and work the dishwasher and stuff and shut up. And if they can also come out with a robotic womb so that men can have children in that robotic womb, then I guess women are going to be out in the woods like wild feral hogs or something because of where we're at in 2026 right now. When you talk to a woman and you ask her, what are your duties to provide to the culture? The only thing they're going to say is we're the only ones that can have children because it's just a part of that feminist mind now where women that, you know, they don't have to cook. They don't have to clean. They don't have to be a man's piece. You know, they don't have to be fit, feminine, friendly. They just show up and they say, well, I'm here because they have a womb. They don't have to perform anything anymore. So if the industry comes along and so that womb can be replaced and then, you know, the housework, you know, like Rosie in the old cartoons going around at the Jetsons, I think it was, cleaning up and everything. If we get that to where all a man's getting out of the woman is that womb and a little bit of companionship. You know, I've been married 35 years. My wife and I are like cornflake and milk. Okay, we're very, very close. But that's best I can tell, that's unusual. That's an anomaly. Some of these guys I know, man, their wife, I don't know how they've lived with them this long. So, you know, there's going to be men like me who does get a wife that, you know, woman that you do enjoy spending time with. But for the most part, that robot in that womb is going to replace the woman. But it's not because that man's some pervert and he wants to go get freaky with a Megan Fox robot necessarily.
Which I said George was banging Rosie. Oh,
Jane, get me off this crazy thing, remember?
Clamps down. Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
It's I think I lean more lady, you know, to the ladies like y'all do, but I do think that T Reason and Wicked do bring up a good point with so many males that are just kind of just outside of the dating market, you know, involuntarily as has been said. That's a lot of guys, and I don't see why they wouldn't just go pick up the newest, you know, Jessica Biel.
I think they would.
Sydney,
women have more options at the end of the day.
True, but to be clear, I am certainly not saying that it will not be an issue for men. That's not at all what I'm saying. Just we have to pick who's going to be worse. I think it's going to be bad for everybody. And I mean, again, in the versions that we already have. They are already not good for everybody. So I don't know if you guys ever been with a chick who needs her toy while you like.
So again, this is why I ask. Like when I said in the beginning, if that's why I agreed with you guys in the beginning. If you want to talk about the toys that they have now, it will be women 100%. But if you go to the actual robot itself, which is what the question is, that's why I lean more towards men.
So something
because women have more options.
Is the newness factor. Like when they first come out, I think there's going to be a line of men out the door But I think that after we experience them for a while and then we don't have that, it kind of starts feeling soulless, and then we come to a logical conclusion with it. Some of that might wear off for men where we're like, we might opt out, whereas women may opt in long term. Whereas it depends on the implementation, to be honest with you. You know,
I got a question for y'all. Could y'all date a woman who you knew had a robot?
No.
She's really into you, but she has her robot.
No.
Get rid of if you're into me, then you're getting rid of that robot. If you ain't getting rid of that
there's
robot, then you're not that into me.
There's a lot of men today that are with women who have the little thing, the battery operated buddy over there in the nightstand. So I'm not sure how that would be a whole bunch of a different thing, you know, but you know.
I feel like there's no competition when it comes to a robot.
I would say,
I'm not worried about
say,
I don't care.
Hold on, you're saying you wouldn't mind.
To go on with Dane.
I don't care because I already know he
said he wouldn't care if she had a robot.
He's not gonna outdo the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
You're just fine to sit in the corner and watch and wait for your turn.
I never said that.
So here's the thing.
Now I will set some boundaries. I don't want to walk in on you in a robot and he going to town on your ass.
Hey, that's why you got to get rid of it.
Either
it goes or you both.
So let me give you an example. Right now, I never have walked in on a woman in the middle with her toy, and I know she got a whole drawer down there with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's never been something that I've experienced before, where you know the lady that I'm entertaining at that time has, you know,
that's because you left the room and she finished.
No, I finished this multiple times before I left the room, brother. That's what
I know you finished. We know. We know you finished. So we're talking about her finishing.
No. I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about.
Look, I am trying to eat over here, fellas.
I know. Look what you're eating.
Hold on. I did just think of one thing. Are we talking about a regular robot or a humanoid robot?
I'm talking about.
I was thinking about
advanced technology they come out with. The most advanced version.
Well, I'm just
like Ex Machina.
You can have an advanced version of a regular robot, and you can have an advanced version of a humanoid robot. Two different things.
Okay, well, how would that change your answer?
That's why. Well, because that's why I asked. If you have toys, then I would kind of agree with you guys. If it was a humanoid robot, I would say that maybe women might lean a little bit more towards a humanoid robot versus a physical
this is what I want to know.
Machine. That's why I would ask this question.
This is what I would want to know, right? Like I said, 37 years with the same woman. If she walked in my office right now and said, Dane, if she showed me on her phone, here's a robot, it's a male robot, I want to buy this robot, bring him in the house. Here's the first thing I'm going to ask. Does he come with a lawnmower attachment?
Probably.
You know,
but
does
again,
it come with the attachment to wash my car, mow my grass, you know, go out there and split that firewood and stuff? Because we could probably work something out, you know. We can just kind of
free rides around here, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can work something out. It could be our robot. I don't have no interest in the sexual side of it, but you know, when the transmissions in my lawnmower need to be rebuilt, can you go out there and do that while I'm sitting on the couch?
So I got a question
for you. Trying to put somebody to work, man.
For T-Reason, I can't tell if you're joking or being serious, but for you,
a white man trying to enslave a robot.
There's no robot that we created. You think that could be better than you?
No, I don't think so. I think that my need is always going to be there. So the things I can do.
The need in that area. I'm talking about the need in that area, though.
Yeah, exactly. The way that I can perform, I don't think a robot is gonna take that away.
It's probably like vaudeville,
brother. Whatever you need.
I think that's the reason that they made robots.
I sleep through the night very, very good.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I bet you do with dreams like that.
What's up with these single guys that are bragging about all their sexual prowess? I don't know.
Yeah, so we got Mr. Johnson saying, are we going to end up having to pay the robots reparations in the future?
Yeah.
You don't clean them, they definitely do.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but I think some women do. Good Lord.
Can you imagine having to clean that thing? That's weird. That's gonna be
I like your stream focus. Hey, appreciate you. That's what I like to hear, my man.
Right on.
Indian Jesus is cool.
That's my boy.
He's weird looking though, wouldn't you say? I told him when I first met him, he looks like Master Shredder, like Temu Master Shredder.
I feel like I saw him in Don't Mess with Zohan.
I get the Brown Moist Critical. I get Jared Leto. I get
I don't know about Jared
Russell
Leto.
Brand. And then there's one.
I don't know about that
see
either.
Russell a little bit. You the
How
team
could you be Russell Brand? You look like. How do you get related to Russell Brand?
If the hair wasn't as long,
Listen,
I'm just telling you. I'm not saying I think
I'm telling you, if somebody says that to you, they're retarded.
Nah,
Okay.
I see it. I can see that, and I can see the personality and the voice.
And then that just backs up exactly what I said. That's
It's not-
exactly that. You literally just confirmed what I said.
What do you mean?
He doesn't get it either. He doesn't get it either. Oh my God! You can't make this shit up.
It's a
Oh man,
It's not.
I'm
a
having a good time.
one, but it's
I'm
close
having a good
enough.
time.
It's close enough.
So yeah, I think we covered most of the topics. I mean, anybody else got anything want to cover? Anybody got a topic they want to bring up?
I mean, I sent Enos a whole bunch. I mean, if he goes in his messages, he go back like 2 or 3 videos. Some of those are really good. So
Enos, I don't know.
What do you guys think about that guy who got crap from random strangers about having his daughters in the female bathroom?
Oh, that was hard. Oh, that's stupid.
The dude calling was insane. He was
Yeah.
literally in the
video
women's
we can look
room.
at?
He was literally in the women's room arguing that, oh, there's a man in here. And like, again, I think that, well, don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just silly. It's
so
just
what's
silly.
the question? Let's first figure. Was the question?
The question would be, do you feel it's okay as a man to bring your daughters into a woman's restroom? I would agree with yes, it is okay. The question would be, do you believe as a man and you have your daughters and they need to use the restroom, do you bring them into the woman's restroom or the male restroom? I say the woman's restroom.
Assuming there's no family bathroom.
Assuming that there's no family bathroom, yes. Assuming that, yes. If you have a male room, a female room. You man with a daughter, do you bring him to the woman's bathroom or the male bathroom? Not one of those unisex, do what you want.
Hold on, okay. I want to go around real quick, make sure we get it. So T-Reason, if you got a guy and his daughter, which bathroom does he go in, the women's or the males?
So to me, it's not an easy question to answer. I think there's a lot of nuance there. So for me, I think it's up to his judgment. I think that in certain situations, he has to make a judgment of if he's going to use the men's restroom or if he's going to use the women's restroom. And I think that he should exercise some good judgment on which one he uses. You know, in most cases, if there's nobody in the men's restroom and the men's restroom is clean and sanitary and different things like that, he should go into the men's restroom. But I think that under rare circumstances where it's an emergency or he just knows that he has to use the women's restroom, he should be able to make that judgment call and go into the women's restroom and use that restroom. I don't think there's a problem with that. But I can see how some people would have a problem with it once they discover it's a man in there. So
what
hopefully,
do you think, brother? What do you think?
That's what I'm waiting on.
I'm saying
talking about what people can have. The point is what you
because I'm looking at the scenario.
We all understand that. We're asking about. We all understand that people can have different opinions about things. That's why we're here on a panel to talk about the different opinions that people can have on things. So, what is your different opinion on the thing?
Like I said, within certain parameters, I would want to see a lock on the door where he could go in there with just his daughter and lock the door so that way nobody else can come in. Especially if there's
not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How would you feel if you didn't eat yesterday?
He's gonna go into a public, either he can't lock the door, a women's restroom or a public men's, and they're both the same sanitation standards. Which way would you think he should go?
The men's. I would say the men's. If everything's the same, I would say the men's.
We got one for women's, one for men's. Dane, how about for yourself?
Man, sometimes I come on this podcast and I think this must be what my dentist feels like when she's pulling teeth. I mean, I'm just like, it's coming out. It's coming out. Oh, I got it. Here's the answer. Me, when I started having kids, they didn't have family restrooms. I took my kid, we're talking 4 sons and a daughter. So my daughter, when she was that age, I took her into the men's room because I just didn't think any different about it. I didn't think anything about it. However, if a man is taking his daughter into the ladies' room, I think that any reasonable woman that walks in there and sees a man with a daughter, unless she's nuts, and there's a lot of women who are nuts, and she sees that she's going to know this man is taking care of his daughter. He's not some predator. He's not some predator who has enlisted his daughter as bait to go into the ladies' room to assault women. I mean, I just think that that's just a crazy jump. I think if my wife walked in and there was a man in there with her daughter, because my wife, she's mean as heck, but she's not crazy. She'd say, hey, this is a dad in here with his daughter. And if she felt unsafe, she would step out and wait for him to get finished. She wouldn't send her cowardly husband to the door to stand there with the police on the phone and make a big scene out of it. I just think it was a Karen and then a very feminized husband who's henpecked and does what his wife tells him, trying to show out. That's what I think the case is.
Yet? Was it you, Wicked, or was it Indian Jesus? Who hasn't given their perspective yet on this?
I didn't.
I think
I didn't yet.
Go ahead, Wicked.
So my opinion is I believe that the man should bring the daughter into the woman's restroom because that is the restroom she is supposed to be using. It is your job as a father to teach your daughter. And if you're going to be teaching her, you need to teach her the correct things. Not that a woman should be going to a men's restroom, especially at a young age, but that a woman should be using a woman's restroom. And along with what Dane said, the fact that if a woman walks in there and sees that a man is in there with his daughter, I believe that there is a lot of leeway to be like, you know what? This man isn't in here for some nefarious reason. He's sitting here taking care of his daughter. Now, if it was a man in a woman's restroom by himself, I would agree with the husband that he should not be in there. But the fact that the man is with his daughter shows that what he's doing is just teaching his daughter, hey, you need to use the bathroom. You go to the woman's restroom. This is what you do. You wash your hands and you do all the things that it teaches to use a restroom when you're training a child.
I think that's reading a little too much into it myself. I mean, I get what he's saying and everything, but I don't think that it's my job. That would be my job to teach my daughter where to use the restroom. I would say that would be my wife's job. And there would be occasionally exceptions. Well, how do what now?
There was no mother there, so
that's what I was going to say. There were occasionally exceptions where I would have all of my kids off by myself, and my daughter have to use the bathroom. I just took her into the men's room because I was going in there anyway, and I didn't think anything about it. I don't know what kind of men's rooms y'all go to, but I've never walked into a men's room and the men were backed up on the urinals doing the helicopter. Okay, most men, I walk in, I can't see their little wee-wee. If I have to go in the stall, I go in the stall. Be the same thing with my daughter. So, I mean, it's as far as taking her into the ladies' room, I mean, that's really my wife's job, but I wouldn't care if a guy did.
So I don't think it's the fact that if it's wrong to bring them into a men's room.
I think the NGDs had a point he was going to make up.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think it comes down to it's not that clearly objective. I think T-Reason, this might have been what you were trying to say before, that there is no clear objective. You should, if you're a father with daughters, you should go here or you should go there. It's the conflict between or rather the level of conflict that happened with the other guy. And so we could say that you are a father with daughters, that you go into the men's room, and that is not inherently wrong. You are a father with daughters, and you go into the women's room, and that's not inherently wrong. But doing what the guy on the phone did, objectively wrong.
Yeah, I think that was just crazy.
Yes,
I think the
that's
guy
my whole point, is the reaction.
Yeah, I think the guy standing in the doorway just triggering over it is kind of the same as somebody saying if a man puts on a dress, it's the downfall of society. I just think that's a big overreaction. I think people end up coming up with answers and then they go around looking for a question for their answer. And that's just kind of the way I see it. And I've raised boys and girls. So, I just never thought anything about it. It's not like
I would agree with what you said.
If I take my daughter into the men's room, that's not the same as me taking her to the strip club.
Right.
I mean, it's not like I'm exposing her to adult themes. And this idea that men in there are predators who are going to be flashing my daughter, that's the mindset that comes from the feminist who want to make out, like they're going to choose the bear because the man's probably a predator.
Good point.
So we're playing into that. I just never thought anything about it. I just took my daughter in here and it was a little odd when she was 16, but no, I'm kidding. She wasn't that old. She was a little girl. Well, when I take them in there, I never thought, don't look to side to side.
Let me ask, is a default for the man to take his daughter into the men unless there's some good reason otherwise?
So
what do you mean? I don't understand what you're asking.
Like in society, do we just expect that if a man has a daughter and he's got to take her into one of the two restrooms, he's gonna go to the man's restroom unless there's good reason not to? Is that the default or no?
Well, I mean, that's the way that I was. I mean, I'm not saying that would necessarily be, the societal standard, but it never entered my mind, hey, I'm going to take Kaylin into the ladies' room. That never entered my mind. But had it entered my mind, especially if I pushed the door open and I called out like the ladies at Walmart when they're coming to clean the men's room, housekeeping, is there anybody in here? And if I didn't hear a woman, then if I went on in there, well, I mean, a woman that steps in there is going to be safe because they're going to see me standing there. It's not like I'm hiding in the stall waiting on them, but it never entered my mind. I don't know why it entered that father's mind, but on that video, it was clear that he was not a predator.
Would you say it was the default, or so it sounds like you're saying it would be the default? Like that would be the expectation to some extent. Like you said, at least in your life, that was kind of
to take the daughter to the men's room.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. What
Dave,
about Wicked, for you? Like would you consider that the default as well?
I would say, do you think that it would consider to, like, I don't see a problem with bringing them into the men's restroom or the women's restroom if needed. I think it would have to go to if there were people in the restroom and to the comfort level of your child. If your child was like, hey, I'd rather do this than that, I think you would have to lean to the comfort of your child. Now, if it was a men's restroom with nobody in there or whatever, I would be like, okay, bring them into the men's restroom. But you know what I mean? I think you would want to look out for the benefit of what the child is more comfortable with.
Understanding you. So you got a guy taking his daughter, Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. So he's about to walk.
Right.
You're saying that it's 50-50. And so we need to collect more information.
Yeah, so let's say that there's if you go to the men's room and there's like 3 guys in there, and then you go to the women's room that there's 3 women in there, I think that the child would be more comfortable in the women's restroom, being that it is a girl with women in there, being to a man's restroom.
You're saying it's 50-50 until you know who's in the bathroom.
I would say yes.
Okay, got you. T Reason, what about for you?
Like I said,
is there a default? Is there one that
the default is to the men's bathroom? If there's no one in there, I'm going into the men's. But if it's like too many men, or if you're dealing with a situation where it's like comfort level, if I want my daughter to feel more comfortable, I'm going to take her into the women's restroom. You know what I mean?
Make all the other women uncomfortable. It's like my daughter's comfortable with other women.
I mean, I think
my daughter's comfort takes comfort over another woman's comfort.
Okay, got you. What about the Indian Jesus? What about for you? So, but I think people are saying the default would be, except for Wicked. But for you, is there a default on a certain direction, or?
Well, no, I don't think it depends on a lot of different factors, and so that's why I was trying to put some substance into what T Reason was saying with this the start, that it's you got to take the judgment here, judgment there, and so again, I don't think there is an objective, clear answer, but I would say that the default is if it's a little girl, then you make sure that there is nobody in there. But like, for example, if we had that exact same situation and the women's room was full, but the men's room was empty, I would have said, well, you probably should go in the men's room unless you're going to wait outside until it's empty and all that. So there is nuance to it. I think the deferring to the child and what's best for them is ideal, but you got to do what you got to do.
Okay, well, see, that's interesting. See, Wicked and Indian Jesus, y'all bring up a new perspective. Somebody who has daughters, I always just thought the default was for me to go into the men's restroom with my daughter. To see that there's variation there, that's pretty cool. I think. Sorry, go ahead. Somebody say something.
I was just going to say, this is kind of what I was just thinking. I saw a meme on Facebook today, because that's where old people hang out at, on Facebook. I saw this meme on Facebook that I've seen before, where this woman, was saying, how the teachers promoted the space shuttle launch to us, and they rolled the TV in, and they were celebrating the first teacher going into space, and we watched it take off and blow up and die, and the teachers just rolled the television out of the room and went right back to class like there was nothing to it. Okay, but today, anything is traumatic at all, and they bring in the counselors and make them available to the students and the parents, and they expect the children to be a lot more damaged or traumatized then I think it's not necessarily necessary. And so I think that's kind of the thing with the bathrooms. I mean, I think, like, I wonder, maybe Wicked or Wicked and one of the other two were saying that something about comfort level. Like I'm wondering, like, when I took my daughter into the men's room, what is it that there's a danger of happening that the men would do, that my daughter would do? If I just walk in, there's a couple of guys over here on the urinal, there's a dude over here washing his hands, he's wanting to go on about his shopping or his road trip, and I'm taking my little 3-year-old daughter in. Like, I'm trying to understand what the danger would be.
So
Man,
for me, from what I've
restroom. Come on now.
So that's all irrelevant. I can agree with what Dane's saying. So for me, from what I have noticed, is that I have Dane's question. So I understand what Dane's asking. So for me, from what I've noticed, like me, I have a 3-year-old child. Okay, when I take him to the park, I notice that there are little girls that feel more comfortable around women than they do men. Whether that has to do with the parenting situation or whatever, but the women, the young girls, the children of girls will lean more towards the mother figure than they would the father figure. So I believe that is why that the comfort level would rely more on them going into a woman's room, seeing women in there compared to seeing a group of men who are strangers, because strangers in general are already uncomfortable for children as it is.
So you think, but there's strangers in the other room.
I don't think everybody else got a chance to answer your question.
Yes, there are strangers in the other room, but the fact that they are women strangers makes it a little less uncomfortable than it would be for a male stranger as a child.
Hold on, Indian Jesus, you want to respond to the question as well?
I want to respond too.
Well, I just saying the difference there has to do with the circumstances and I'm just repeating myself, but I think it's sorry. You were asking what the danger was. See, sometimes it just takes me a second and I'm right back. Thank you very much, Big Daddy Pod, for the 5. There isn't necessarily a present danger, which is why my opinion isn't that there is an objective right or wrong answer. But if we are to get down to it, then if there is going to be danger to a young girl, it's more likely to be in the men's room than it is the women's room, even though we don't expect there to be any danger in either.
Well, how would there be a danger to the little girl when Daddy's standing right there?
I don't have a question, but T Reason has to answer.
Okay, I got you.
The fact that I gotta explain
this for you, Dane,
tells me everything I need to know. Okay.
Oh God, here we go with the woman poetry.
Oh, can I finish, please? Just listen.
Go ahead, T Reason.
There is a lot of catastrophes that happen in the men's bathroom that I do not want my daughter to be exposed to. I don't want to traumatize my child to seeing the size of a male dookie. Okay, I don't want her to walk in after Dane and drop the deuce and her to see a massive log sitting in that thing and I can't flush it. I'm hitting the handle and it ain't flushing. I'm hitting it and jiggling it and it won't budge and I can smell it. And now my child, my 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old child is smelling it too. And the worst thing, I don't want them to see a little weenie dangling and mangling. I don't want to see a guy come off the stall and forget to pull his pants up in time and my child to be exposed to that. Now I got to put my hand in front of her eyes so she don't see it for very long.
Clutch your pearls, man. Clutch your pearls. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's a big turd in the toilet. Oh my gosh.
Can I finish, please? Can I please get it out? Because I know yours, when you got a number 2, it gets stuck in there sometimes and you got to.
I don't know how you know about what comes out of my butt, man.
I'm looking
you got some weird
about what's going on,
man. I've seen the burrito you stuff down your pie hole, so I'm already imagining what that number 2 finna be.
I don't know how
you ain't wrong, but it's still kind of gay. T-Reason, you're not wrong there, but it's still kind of gay.
Yeah, I'm getting a little uncomfortable. You're talking about my anus.
Does he take a bowel movement? A bowel movement?
I mean, you're talking about my anus, man. That's weird.
I'm not talking. I'm talking about you taking a dump.
I know. I don't take a dump out of my elbow.
I know.
I've never in my life thought about anything to do with another man's butthole, man.
I didn't think. I'm talking about you going to the bathroom. We were talking about the bathroom.
Yeah, my butthole. My butthole, man.
I understand how.
Go ahead, say it with me now. Butthole. You're thinking about it, say it.
We're butthole. You on topic today, okay? I see you off topic.
Big Daddy's big butthole.
Your mind is in the gutter right now. That's not where mine was.
You're the one talking about turds, man.
Because that's what happens
Jesus,
in the bathroom.
I know you want some of this.
Does that not? Is that not what happens in the bathroom? What happens in the
I got you,
bathroom?
bro.
People are gonna go number 1 or number 2. You ain't got but 2
I don't know. I don't know what other people do in the bathroom because I don't pay attention to
you
them.
might got a third one if you
I walk in and I use the bathroom. I'm not walking in interviewing folks. Hey, what are you doing in the bathroom?
You got to pull your tampon out because you need to put yours back in right now and let me finish. Okay.
You're not gonna finish, man. You don't want to talk about butthole.
And Dane got his pants down to his ankles because you know when he do it, he take his shorts all the way to his ankles.
There you go, talking about me undressing.
For some odd reason, I can't
Man, you need some therapy.
Why he put them all the way down there?
You know, if you move to the right state, the conversion therapy is still legal.
And I don't want her to see another man's cheeks. So I'm trying to prevent her from seeing certain things. That's why I typically will make sure there's no other males in there and that the path from the door to the stall is clear. So that way I can ensure the environment because as a parent, you control the environment your child is going through. Okay. And I don't know if some fathers realize that, but you control the environment. So I'm going to do my due diligence to make sure it's a clear path from the front door to the stall. Hopefully there's a lock on the door and there's nobody else in there and I can lock the door. Now I can have some peace of mind that she's going to be able to go to the bathroom comfortably and not have to worry about your hair sitting on the toilet or the edge of the toilet seat. There's certain things I don't expose my child to. Now, if I need to make an executive decision to go into the women's stall because it's a little bit cleaner or there's no
not an executive decision,
then I'm going to do that. Okay, as a father, I'm going to do that for my child. And I would hope that most fathers exercise that because I say that it falls on the father to make that judgment decision of, am I going to go to the men's or am I going to go to the women's? Or hopefully most cases they have both. Are you falling asleep?
Let's close it out, fellas.
The Energizer Bunny.
Let's go and close it out. You know, minute and a half or less. Wicked, it's on you. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Man, where do we go from here? I think we had a pretty good debate tonight. A couple topics that were a little too much for T Reason to comprehend in the beginning. But then towards the end, I feel like me and him agreed a little bit more. So it's like this love-hate relationship that we have with each other. It's great. That's what makes the show entertaining. But I definitely think we all brought up a bunch of good topics tonight, a bunch of good points. I think at the end of the day, we pretty much agreed on a few things more than we disagreed. But overall, it was a pretty good show.
Cool. All right. The Indian Jesus, what you got, my man?
Well, I gotta thank both Dane and you guys here at the Vulcan Soapbox. I appreciate the invite. Had a good time. Team Reason, I enjoyed going back and forth, and I'm sure I will be back. I think we got to a point on the specific prompts themselves, so I don't really have anything to add there. But guys, I want to say this, but I don't want to act like I'm big broing anybody. But everybody should subscribe. This platform is definitely going to blow up. I see what you guys are doing here, and already you've got a good flow. You've got all the pieces in place, and take some time to find your legs. But I'm definitely subscribed. I will definitely be back, and can't wait to see where you guys go with this. Yeah, please do also subscribe over to me at the Indian Jesus again, live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, T Reason.
Yeah, I think it was a good pod tonight, man. I think these guys they have interesting standpoints, obviously different to mine. And I think they need to start coming with pen and pad, notepad in hand, because school is in session. I will be schooling these guys every Monday night at 8:30. So have your popcorn ready and your wicked dreams on deck. It was nice meeting Indian Jesus. Obviously, he has different views than mine, and ours do clash at various times. It's nice to find that sometimes we're in agreement. I think I was agreeing with him a few times. He got mad that I interrupted him, but I was actually adding to his point. But I think Dane needs to practice staying awake. If he needs to take some type of medication so he don't fall asleep, because he likes to hear himself speak more than he listens to everyone else talk, I think he can absorb a lot of new information, and I think he's going to be on the path of enlightenment for a while. It's going to be a journey. We're not going to get him there overnight. But thanks for having me on the pod tonight.
Is he ever going to shut up?
I saw you, Dave.
My. I'm gonna tell you with Lutch up here. I've told him before. I don't know why, which he has a pretty big subscriber count, but I don't know why he's not up around 100K because. I mean, his branding, his entertainment is sometimes it's like watching a cartoon. It really is. You see that? It's like watching a cartoon. I'm glad he came on because, but I will say this, Lutch. This is the first time I've been on Vulcan Soapbox where they didn't have their stuff together at the very, very beginning, and they were stumbling and fumbling. Ordinarily, that's not the case. Usually, Vulcan over here is got the whip in his hand, and he's like asking Enos or Freshly either one. It's 8:30. Is there a reason we're not started? It's 8:30. He's like that. So typically it runs a lot smoother. When I first got here, I was having problems with my OBS. I'd added a lot of stuff to my OBS and my computer wasn't liking it for some reason. So finally I just logged right into the StreamYards, but I'm glad you came, Lutch. And, you can invite some other people. I think it'd be great to get a little bit more. Honestly, I'd like to have some people who are going to typically be on the other side of the issues from like me and Wicked, people to be more like on T Reasons. If you can say he stands on the side of the issue, which you're really not really sure about that, but something like that. And I know that Lutch is not necessarily. Would you say you're on the right, Lutch, or would you be more of a centrist?
I am more on the right, but the fact that I have to hesitate there is
center right. So you're kind of centrist, right. and so which I am too in a lot of cases, but I think Lutch is just his mindset to be a real plus to it. So thanks for coming. Thanks for doing it, James. Vulcan, I know that there's a lot of stress when you have like a real job, which I don't really have. There's a lot of stress keeping it together. So I do appreciate y'all having it this week and not, say, hey, we're going to skip this week. But I had a good time. I wish my software would have cooperated. I could have been more involved more. So I'm looking forward to next week.
I think everybody did a great job on the show. Yeah, definitely tune into a lot of other shows. Dane's right. This is probably our most disorganized one we've done. Our other host was stepped out last minute, I think maybe 30 minutes before the show started. So Enos was able to step in, which is becoming a theme now. Because I think last episode or two, we've had Enos stepped in. Now it looks like that's just what he does. He steps in. But really, we just trying to figure out how to make it work because part of it is just staying consistent. And especially when you already into the show, you want to make sure you maintain that. So, but definitely everybody out there who watches the show, send in videos, clips, questions you may have for the panel. We try to have a diverse panel on with different views. Typically, I like to be on the panel, but if we have somebody short, then I just more so fill into other slot just so we can have it run somewhat smooth. And outside of that, I think we had a great show, so I was excited for everybody being on. So tune in. We'll do it again next Monday, and definitely sub to Dane's page, Dane's channel. Sub to and the Indian Jesus channel. T Reason.
Everybody in my chat. I put all the links. Everybody go follow everybody.
Make sure y'all sub. And we'll do this again. Vulcan Soapbox out, fellas.
Peace.